better future is built by the brave, envisioned by brilliant minds, born from the passions of thousands strong. One that isn't without risk, but protected from it. Safe from all the worries and secure for what's to come. Because a better future with the greatest empires, the strongest communities, and the happiest families will always be worth having. That's why the bold and the fearless understand that recreating something better takes courage and strength. So together, let's start shaping a better future today.
R.I.S.E. is an exclusive event of Globe Business that aims to support enterprises across all regions to gain new perspectives, provide strategies, and share latest insights for various industries. Any information shared during the live stream will be viewable to all the participants in the webinar. Please refrain from sharing personal information such as name, location, contact details, and other sensitive information in our chat box. Globe Business, their affiliates, partners, representatives, and all staff and employees involved in this event shall not be liable for any unauthorized distribution or malicious use of such information. The views and opinions expressed by the host and guests do not necessarily reflect the position of Globe Business and its management, Globe Telecom. Thank you. We will begin shortly. Good day, government partners, and welcome to Globe Business R.I.S.E, Regional Insights and Strategies for E-Government. Digital Transformation in Government. Before we start the program, here are some reminders. Please make sure that you have a stable internet connection for the best viewing experience. But in case you lose your connection, please re-enter the webinar room so you won't miss any important talks from all our distinguished speakers. Use earphones or headsets for better audio quality. Please use the Zoom Q&A button to send in your questions during the panel discussions. We are looking forward to your active participation. Thank you.
A better future is built by the brave, envisioned by brilliant minds, born from the passions of thousands strong. One that isn't without risk, but protected from it. Safe from all the worries and secure for what's to come. Because a better future with the greatest empires, the strongest communities, and the happiest families will always be worth having. That's why the bold and the fearless understand that recreating something better takes courage and strength. So together, let's start shaping a better future today.
While many businesses are eager to welcome their employees back to the office, others aren't in the same rush. And that's okay. Today's workplace needs have evolved. And business leaders are rethinking how they can support their distributed workforce. At Zoom, we're committed to helping businesses get the most out of their unique workspaces. So if your employees are on-site, remote, or a mix of both, Zoom can help you and your team stay safe and efficient. We have the products and features you need to optimize your space and fully enable the hybrid workforce. Whether you need to be in the office, out in the field, or in your own workspace, connect, share ideas, and get more done together, wherever you are.
Welcome to your hybrid workspace with Zoom rooms. What exactly is a Zoom room? Well, it could be a conference room,
or a third grade classroom,
your new home office,
and a flex space. Any room can become a fully integrated Zoom room for your hybrid work environment. It all starts on Zoom's powerful platform, available across desktop, mobile, and room systems. You can even leverage existing hardware or devices purpose-built for Zoom. Start meetings with just one touch or voice command. Hello Zoom, start meeting.
You can wirelessly share content between devices,
or co-annotate shared content on Zoom rooms for touch devices.
For a more personalized meeting experience, Zoom's Smart Gallery creates individual video feeds, so everyone feels more included in the conversation. Get these same Zoom Rooms features anywhere you need to collaborate, including personal workstations using Zoom Hot Desking. Keep your teams informed with digital signage and supported with virtual kiosks. So whether your teams collaborate from across the hall or across the globe, unleash your hybrid workspace today with Zoom Rooms.
Zoom Events is an all-in-one platform that elevates the virtual and hybrid experience for hosts, panelists, and, of course, attendees. Let's build your Zoom event. First, design your branded hubs. Hubs are where your event content is stored. Build your first event by clicking Create in the event portal. Choose from a single session event, a summit for a series of sessions, or a conference for a large multi-day event. Next, add the event name, dates, and agenda, so guests can learn more about your sessions and speakers. You can also add sponsors and build a networking so attendees can interact in the event lobby. Customize ticketing and registration options, then publish your event. Attendees will receive a unique ticket to join. Need expert assistance to plan your event? Zoom's professional events team can help throughout the entire process. With Zoom, you have everything you need to confidently host your virtual event at every scale. Zoom Events, engaging virtual experiences with real impact.
Today, businesses are stretched in unexpected ways due to unforeseen circumstances and business challenges. With unpredictable crises threatening business growth across all industries, accelerating your digital initiatives is key to lasting success. We are here to help. Yondu is a customer-centric IT solutions provider that helps enterprises scale in the digital economy. Our wide array of technology solutions are specifically designed to address your pain points and meet your business needs. Automate mundane tasks and customize them based on your business needs and goals to bring unique and happier technological experiences for your customers with custom software development. Focus more on strategic tasks such as running your business, while our team of IT professionals handles your complex IT operations through managed services. Gain a fresh perspective and come up with innovative solutions for your corporate needs with managed expert services. Savor greater flexibility, scalability, cost savings, and security with cloud business solutions. Engage with your customers efficiently anytime, anywhere, and drive more people to your business with Mobile 360. Build your digital store in a few clicks and grow your business with Vessel. And ensure team productivity and business efficiency with ERP system. Accelerate your digital transformation and take your business to greater heights. Let us help you jumpstart your journey to progress. Yondu. Technology made human.
Today's world is a place of endless possibilities. Just look at the way businesses communicate. Simplify your business processes. Collaborate. And care for customers. And your employees. How are you keeping up? Whether you need to reach, optimize, or engage, Globe Labs will help you get it done. One stack of solutions, endless possibilities. Let's get started on your journey together. Get powered by Globe Labs today.
As of 2019, 11% of adults deal with depression and anxiety. In 2021, that number has risen to 41%. 56% of adults aged 18 to 24 experience anxiety and depressive symptoms. In the Philippines, a study has shown that over the pandemic, 16.3% reported feeling a moderate to severe psychological impact. 28.8% reported moderate to severe anxiety symptoms, and 16.9% reported feeling moderate to severe depressive symptoms. Only 44% of those who suffer with mental health issues have received treatment or counseling. People are feeling more isolated more than ever as the pandemic keeps them away from their friends and family. It can be hard to find the help you need. Consulta MD is your partner in overall health, both physical and mental, because we know that your mental health matters. Mental Health Matters aims to serve those who are in a dark place and bust the stigma around mental health. We want you to know that you matter and that your mental health matters and that we are here to help. Seek help. Download the KMD app, talk to a professional because we want to help you.
Good day, government partners, and welcome to Globe Business R.I.S.E, Regional Insights and Strategies for E-Government. Digital Transformation in Government. Before we start the program, here are some reminders. Please make sure that you have a stable internet connection for the best viewing experience. But in case you lose your connection, please re-enter the webinar room so you won't miss any important talks from all our distinguished speakers. Use earphones or headsets for better audio quality. Please use the Zoom Q&A button to send in your questions during the panel discussions. We are looking forward to your active participation. Thank you. R.I.S.E is an exclusive event of Globe Business that aims to support enterprises across all regions to gain new perspectives, provide strategies, and share latest insights for various industries. Any information shared during the live stream will be viewable to all the participants in the webinar. Please refrain from sharing personal information such as name, location, contact details, and other sensitive information in our chat box. Globe Business, their affiliates, partners, representatives, and all staff and employees involved in this event shall not be liable for any unauthorized distribution or malicious use of such information. The views and opinions expressed by the host and guests do not necessarily reflect the position of Globe Business and its management, Globe Telecom. Thank you. We will begin shortly. day government partners, and welcome to Globe Business R.I.S.E, Regional Insights and Strategies for E-Government. Digital Transformation in Government. Before we start the program, here are some reminders. Please make sure that you have a stable internet connection for the best viewing experience. But in case you lose your connection, please re-enter the webinar room so you won't miss any important talks from all our distinguished speakers. Use earphones or headsets for better audio quality. Please use the Zoom Q&A button to send in your questions during the panel discussions. We are looking forward to your active participation. Thank you.
A better future is built by the brave, envisioned by brilliant minds, born from the passions of thousands strong. One that isn't without risk, but protected from it. Safe from all the worries and secure for what's to come. Because a better future with the greatest empires, the strongest communities, and the happiest families will always be worth having. That's why the bold and the fearless understand that recreating something better takes courage and strength. So together, let's start shaping a better future today.
While many businesses are eager to welcome their employees back to the office, others aren't in the same rush. And that's okay. Today's workplace needs have evolved. And business leaders are rethinking how they can support their distributed workforce. At Zoom, we're committed to helping businesses get the most out of their unique workspaces. So if your employees are on-site, remote, or a mix of both, Zoom can help you and your team stay safe and efficient. We have the products and features you need to optimize your space and fully enable the hybrid workforce. Whether you need to be in the office, out in the field, or in your own workspace, connect, share ideas, and get more done together, wherever you are.
Welcome to your hybrid workspace with Zoom Rooms. What exactly is a Zoom room? Well, it could be a conference room,
Or a third grade classroom.
Your new home office.
and a flex space. Any room can become a fully integrated Zoom room for your hybrid work environment. It all starts on Zoom's powerful platform, available across desktop, mobile, and room systems. You can even leverage existing hardware or devices purpose-built for Zoom. Start meetings with just one touch or voice command. Hello Zoom, start meeting.
You can wirelessly share content between devices.
Or co-annotate shared content on Zoom Rooms for touch devices.
For a more personalized meeting experience, Zoom's Smart Gallery creates individual video feeds, so everyone feels more included in the conversation. Get these same Zoom Rooms features anywhere you need to collaborate, including personal workstations using Zoom Hot Desking. Keep your teams informed with digital signage and supported with virtual kiosks. So whether your teams collaborate from across the hall or across the globe, unleash your hybrid workspace today with Zoom Rooms.
Zoom Events is an all-in-one platform that elevates the virtual and hybrid experience for hosts, panelists, and, of course, attendees. Let's build your Zoom event. First, design your branded hubs. Hubs are where your event content is stored. Build your first event by clicking Create in the event portal. Choose from a single session event, a summit for a series of sessions, or a conference for a large multi-day event. Next, add the event name, dates, and agenda, so guests can learn more about your sessions and speakers. You can also add sponsors and build a networking so attendees can interact in the event lobby. Customize ticketing and registration options, then publish your event. Attendees will receive a unique ticket to join. Need expert assistance to plan your event? Zoom's professional events team can help throughout the entire process. With Zoom, you have everything you need to confidently host your virtual event at every scale. Zoom Events, engaging virtual experiences with real impact.
Today, businesses are stretched in unexpected ways due to unforeseen circumstances and business challenges. With unpredictable crises threatening business growth across all industries, accelerating your digital initiatives is key to lasting success. We are here to help. Yondu is a customer-centric IT solutions provider that helps enterprises scale in the digital economy. Our wide array of technology solutions are specifically designed to address your pain points and meet your business needs. Automate mundane tasks and customize them based on your business needs and goals to bring unique and happier technological experiences for your customers with custom software development. Focus more on strategic tasks such as running your business, while our team of IT professionals handles your complex IT operations through managed services. Gain a fresh perspective and come up with innovative solutions for your corporate needs with managed expert services. Savor greater flexibility, scalability, cost savings, and security with cloud business solutions. Engage with your customers efficiently anytime, anywhere, and drive more people to your business with Mobile 360. Build your digital store in a few clicks and grow your business with Vessel. And ensure team productivity and business efficiency with ERP system. Accelerate your digital transformation and take your business to greater heights. Let us help you jumpstart your journey to progress. Yondu. Technology made human.
Today's world is a place of endless possibilities. Just look at the way businesses communicate. Simplify your business processes. Collaborate. And care for customers. And your employees. How are you keeping up? Whether you need to reach, optimize, or engage, Globe Labs will help you get it done. One stack of solutions, endless possibilities. Let's get started on your journey together. Get powered by Globe Labs today.
As of 2019, 11% of adults deal with depression and anxiety. In 2021, that number has risen to 41%. 56% of adults aged 18 to 24 experience anxiety and depressive symptoms. In the Philippines, a study has shown that over the pandemic, 16.3% reported feeling a moderate to severe psychological impact. 28.8% reported moderate to severe anxiety symptoms, and 16.9% reported feeling moderate to severe depressive symptoms. Only 44% of those who suffer with mental health issues have received treatment or counseling. People are feeling more isolated more than ever as the pandemic keeps them away from their friends and family. It can be hard to find the help you need. Consulta MD is your partner in overall health, both physical and mental, because we know that your mental health matters. Mental Health Matters aims to serve those who are in a dark place and bust the stigma around mental health. We want you to know that you matter and that your mental health matters and that we are here to help. Seek help. Download the KMD app, talk to a professional because we want to help you.
Good day, government partners, and welcome to Globe Business R.I.S.E, Regional Insights and Strategies for E-Government. Digital Transformation in Government. Before we start the program, here are some reminders. Please make sure that you have a stable internet connection for the best viewing experience. But in case you lose your connection, please re-enter the webinar room so you won't miss any important talks from all our distinguished speakers. Use earphones or headsets for better audio quality. Please use the Zoom Q&A button to send in your questions during the panel discussions. We are looking forward to your active participation. Thank you. R.I.S.E is an exclusive event of Globe Business that aims to support enterprises across all regions to gain new perspectives, provide strategies, and share latest insights for various industries. Any information shared during the live stream will be viewable to all the participants in the webinar. Please refrain from sharing personal information such as name, location, contact details, and other sensitive information in our chat box. Globe Business, their affiliates, partners, representatives, and all staff and employees involved in this event shall not be liable for any unauthorized distribution or malicious use of such information. The views and opinions expressed by the host and guests do not necessarily reflect the position of Globe Business and its management, Globe Telecom. Thank you. We will begin shortly. Good day, government partners, and welcome to Globe Business R.I.S.E, Regional Insights and Strategies for E-Government. Digital Transformation in Government. Before we start the program, here are some reminders. Please make sure that you have a stable internet connection for the best viewing experience. But in case you lose your connection, please re-enter the webinar room so you won't miss any important talks from all our distinguished speakers. Use earphones or headsets for better audio quality. Please use the Zoom Q&A button to send in your questions during the panel discussions. We are looking forward to your active participation. Thank you. Innovate, transform, and evolve your governance in today's now normal. This is Globe Business R.I.S.E. They say the only constant thing in this world is change. And right now, it's all the world ever sees. We live in a time when countries, economies, and industries are rapidly changing, shifting, and developing. And along with this, the public's need for change. This includes transparency in governance, a seamless and efficient delivery of services, easy access to healthcare and education, and a secure digital space for information. These prompted the public sector to optimize its governance and accelerate digitalization to create a digitally empowered and integrated government that provides efficient services for a globally competitive Filipino nation. We understand this reality, and we want to be with you on your journey. Which is why we provide you with the tools necessary to successfully achieve innovative progress and development in the public sector by enabling a connected government that ensures inclusive and equitable education, disaster-resilient communities, accessible healthcare solutions, and good governance through digital solutions that ensure accountability and transparency. These are the essential elements needed to deliver better government information and services to the public. We bring you global competitiveness by enabling local communities with the right technology and solutions. Let us innovate together and emerge from this better and stronger. Committed to paving your way towards digital transformation in government. This is how we can help you. RISE! Regional Insights and Strategies for E-Government. Introducing your host for today's affair, please welcome Ria Tanwatco Trillo.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Globe Business R.I.S.E, Regional Insights and Strategies for E-Government. My name is Ria Tanwatco Trillo, and I am very proud to be your host for today's event. Now, it's an early Thursday morning, and we really appreciate that you're able to join us for today's learning session. But before anything, we'd like to know more about your audience. So I'd like to ask, what is your purpose in joining us today? Now, I'm sure one of the reasons why you're here is because you're all interested to hear from our distinguished speakers. But apart from that, we'd also like to know what are the other possible reasons for your participation in today's event. Are you here because you want to A, learn the latest updates and insights in government, B, you're interested to hear the fireside chat discussion, that's always interesting, or C, maybe you want to make new connections. So the poll is now open and we want to hear from you. So you should be seeing a prompt on your screen right now, and you just need to choose one of those three, A, B, or C. These virtual events, we've been doing them for almost 2 years now, but it really makes it that much more difficult to sort of read the room or take the temperature in the room, which is why we would love to hear from you. So I think that poll is up and we are just waiting for the results. Again, all you need to do is follow the prompts, right? Are you here to learn the latest insights and updates in government? Maybe you're interested to be at the fireside chats, or maybe you want to make new connections. All right, so I have the results right here with me right now. I'm told that 94% of you want to learn the latest updates and insights in government. 4% are interested to hear the fireside chat discussion, and the remaining 2% want to make new connections. So that is fantastic. Thank you so much for answering our poll, and I am feeling your excitement. There is a lot to learn. And of course, with our lineup of speakers, who wouldn't be, right? So whatever reasons you may have for joining us, we hope that you can achieve these by the end of the program. Now, we know why you're here. Let's figure out the reason behind this event. How did Globe Business R.I.S.E rise? So for the past year, all industries have undergone major changes to their organizations, and the public sector is absolutely no exception. From vaccine rollouts, telehealth to telework, virtual courts to virtual education, and even the automation of manual tasks to deploying virtual assistants, the country's national and local government needed to learn new ways to shift operations and services to keep up with the demand of the times. Globe Business understands this reality, and being at the forefront of innovation and transformation, Globe Business aspires to be part of your journey towards digitization so you can reach your full potential with access to insights and strategies to help you lead better in today's digital world. And this is how Globe Business R.I.S.E came to be. And today's session is all about digital transformation in government. So get ready for a day of learning as we have invited distinguished speakers to share their insights and perspectives, as well as trends in the industry. So like I said, it is a very, very busy morning. Let's get started. To officially welcome everyone to today's event is the Senior Vice President for the Enterprise Group of Globe Business. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Peter Maquera.
Thank you, Ria, and welcome everyone to the fifth leg of our R.I.S.E event. Looking back at the past 20 months, I realized our global health situation has shown how critical ICT can be when appropriately leveraged for good governance, especially in difficult times. Just at Globe, for example, we're able to reach more people with our services in partnership with local governments. We were able to ramp up our cell builds last year to 1,300 new towers, and this year we're on our way to fulfilling 2,000 new towers. Thanks to our government for helping fast-track permitting of tower builds, we increased our 600 new tower builds 2 to 3 years ago to 2 times in 2020 and more than 3 times this 2021. In partnership with Manila and QC LGUs, we supported the shift to online learning by providing 500,000 SIM cards, pocket Wi-Fis to teachers, and loading promos to students. We partnered with LGUs to make our mobile data promo offers more affordable and accessible even to the underserved so that they can still learn remotely. For those who really needed free Wi-Fi, our Go Wi-Fi hubs have also been available in common areas to communities in over 3,000 key public areas, such as hubs, government offices, etc. Some cities and municipalities were among the first to go cashless with GCash. Makati City provided its 500,000 residents with government unified citizen IDs for cashless transactions, offering the convenience of buying load, paying bills, playing games, and making app store and online purchases in the comfort of their home. In Cordova, Cebu, over 20,000 constituents received a prepaid SIM plus GCash card bundle, which served as the citizen ID for funds disbursement of the municipality to its constituents. These few examples only show that governments who were quick to embrace digital played a central role in addressing the crisis and in becoming an essential element of communication, leadership, and collaboration between policymakers and society during the pandemic. At Globe, we want to continue to be a bridge between the local governments and the people they serve by helping LGUs digitally transform into a connected government that builds a connected nation. But this is just the beginning of our journey together in digital transformation. We have more communities to reach and more people to serve, especially in far-flung areas. And this road is not without its bumps. According to the 2020 UN e-government survey report, although countries worldwide are eager to move forward e-government, many continue to face challenges linked to multiple contextual factors such as resource limitations, a lack of digital infrastructure, and insufficient capacity and capabilities. Governments need to accelerate efforts to embrace technology, even when the crisis is over. But how, with all these factors at play? Governments also need to give careful consideration to the unintended consequences of technology use and take active steps to protect sensitive data and people's privacy and security. As we become more digital, our threat landscape is expanding. So how do we guard our communities against such threats? These are just some of what our lineup of well-respected leaders will tackle today to help you in achieving transformative e-governance. Senator Win Gatchalian will give us a deeper understanding of the Full Digital Transformation Act of 2020. New Zealand Ambassador to the Philippines, Peter Kell, will help us be in tune with the global outlook and provide us with key New Zealand-Philippines partnerships with the government agencies on modernizing processes and services for the public. CEO of New Zealand's Creative HQ, Catherine Jones, will share how their government problem-solving programs help agencies reimagine services, solve complex problems, and provide support to create transformational work in government. Undersecretary Fit Aldaba of the Department of Trade and Industry's Competitive and Innovation Group will discuss the country's inclusive innovation industrial strategy and policies, and how its adoption will raise the cities and municipalities' competitiveness. Governor Dakila Carlo Cua of the province of Quirino and Mayor Rex Gatchalian of the city of Valenzuela will both share their insights on how the LGUs innovate to better deliver government services to the people. Our very own Kokoy Claraval of Globe Enterprise Group will share how Globe will help bridge the digital transformation plans of government and build a digitally connected nation. And of course, we will be hearing a message from our chairman of Ayala Corporation and the chairman of Globe Telecom Inc., Mr. Jaime Augusto Zobel Ayala, who will also be joining us in this event, live from New York. I urge you to listen and ask questions during the panel discussion. Please do not hesitate to use this session to your advantage to gain actionable insights that will help you in implementing e-government solutions to deliver better information and services to the Filipino public. Together, we will rise, innovate, and transform the government into the new normal. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you very much, Peter. Always an insightful and inspiring open. Well, as Peter said, we have another very special guest this morning who is joining us live all the way from the US. He has been Globe Telecom's chairman of the board since December 1996 and director since March 1989. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the chairman of Ayala Corporation, Mr. Jaime Augusto Zobel de Ayala.
Thank you very much, and delighted to be here with all of you. Your Excellency, Ambassador Peter Kell of New Zealand, always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for your engagement on this project and with the Philippines in general. DTI Undersecretary Fita Aldaba, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian, Catherine Jones of Creative HQ in New Zealand. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Of course, Peter Becerra of Globe, Kokoy Claraval, and the rest of the Globe team who've been very supportive in engaging with cities throughout the country. And of course, to my good friend Bill Luce, who's provided a lot of leadership for transformation of cities throughout. Good morning, and thank you, Globe, for inviting me to speak at this meeting of digital transformation in government, such an important topic at this point in time. I mean, if there is one thing that this COVID pandemic has shown us is that it is possible to go through digital transformation both at scale and with speed. While many of us, whether as organizations or as individuals, have been slowly shifting to more digital processes over many years, this pandemic and resulting lockdowns have forced all of us to accelerate the shift. It doesn't matter what sector you are in. The very conduct of this meeting on a virtual basis illustrates this trend, and this has been happening across so many different fronts. Over the last 2 years, since the onset of lockdowns, we have seen digital activities across a wide range of our economy rapidly expand. Demand for retail, e-commerce, food and grocery deliveries, online banking, digital cash transactions, telemedicine, online education, online entertainment, social media use, virtual meeting platforms like this one, and work from home tools have all boomed. It's been extraordinary. In 2 short years, all these businesses have expanded significantly. Unfortunately, not everybody has been able to enjoy the benefits of this digital transformation. Large segments are not always able to tap into these services. But I do feel that there is one frontier to open up, a frontier that will open up digital access for even more people. And that frontier is government, or more accurately, e-government. Imagine the benefits of transacting online with national government agencies and local governments. Business registration, tax payments, building permit applications, occupancy permit applications, driver's licenses, vehicle registration, NBI clearances, filings with the DTI, customs, FDA, and other regulatory agencies are just some of the transactions which can be digitized to make life more convenient for citizens. Digital payments for all these transactions will make the customer experience seamless. And can you imagine the impact of using analytics and data sciences, mapping and artificial intelligence to help us solve some of society's greatest problems, or just to simply improve basic government services at national and local levels? All of this is possible by opening up this frontier of digital transformation in government. That is why I'm so excited to join this forum organized by Globe for the government. I believe this transformation is possible in a relatively short period of time, provided we decide to collaborate and involve a strong public-private partnership. We will also need to be creative in our approach to finding the appropriate solutions and to reorienting organizational culture to adapt to rapid change. Finally, it'll require an open and inquisitive mindset to learn from the outside, such as what we're doing here today with New Zealand. And thank you, Ambassador, again for supporting this initiative. This pandemic has shown us that rapid transformation is possible in the private sector. I have no doubt that the same transformation can happen in government if the right approach is taken. I hope you find this forum useful as we learn from government leaders like Undersecretary Fita Aldaba, Senator Win Gatchalian, Governor Dax Kua, Mayor Rex Gatchalian, and our experts from Creative HQ and Globe. Thank you also, Catherine, for being here with us today and sharing your own experiences. Thank you and enjoy the forum. Delighted to be here with you all.
Thank you, Jaza. I'm sure everyone is as thrilled as I am to have you this morning, and we really appreciate it, especially we know that it is getting a bit late right now in New York. So thank you very much indeed. Now, before we start our session proper, some of you might be wondering, how can Globe help the public sector become innovators in leading the country? At Globe, the goal is not only to provide transformative insights on e-governance, but also to become a partner of the public sector to achieve a complete ecosystem that is sustainable, efficient, and attuned to help deliver better government information and services in today's digital era. To know how Globe connects you to a world of possibilities, please watch this.
Sa pagpatak ng ulan, sa pagsubok na dumaraan, may tapang kang harap, lilipad kang may pangarap, lilipad kang may pangarap.
Susulong ka ng may kasama, may tapang kang haharap,
lilipad kang may pangarap, lilipad kang may pangarap. Simula na ng bukas, ayun na, simula na ng bukas.
such a heartwarming video. Well, I know you're all excited to meet our speakers for today's webinar, so I'm not going to keep you waiting any longer. Mga kababayan, it is now time for you to rise. First on our list, as we all know, the concept of creating a digital government and implementation of digital projects require capital investments to ensure continuous operation and maintenance of systems and technologies. With budget concerns and the rise of demand in improving the quality of public services, the search for innovative methods of financing projects led to the partnership of the public and private sectors to be able to provide digital public services to local communities. Our next speaker will be discussing more about this collaboration towards inclusive innovation in this next segment. She is the Undersecretary for Competitiveness and Innovation of the Department of Trade and Industry, which fulfills a key role in the formulation and implementation of the Inclusive Innovation Industrial Strategy, which puts innovation at the heart of the country's new industrial policy. Leading DTI's initiatives in preparing industries for the fourth industrial revolution and advancing the digital transformation of MSMEs and large enterprises, she established the Regional Inclusive Innovation Centers, developing the country's creative industries and growing a robust startup ecosystem in the country. Please welcome our Undersecretary, Rafaelita Fita M. Aldaba.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. It's a great pleasure to be here to talk about the inclusive innovation policies and programs of the Department of Trade and Industry. Prior to this unprecedented crisis, we were already experiencing the entry of the fourth industrial revolution technologies, which have been disrupting the traditional way of delivering goods and services. Now, more than ever, we realize the importance of innovation and adapting Industry 4.0 technologies. They have played a crucial role in keeping societies functional in times of quarantines or lockdowns. The same technologies would be needed as we restart the economy and prepare for the post-crisis future. McKinsey suggests that the world is currently 7 or more years ahead of schedule when it comes to digitalization. I would like to highlight some of the key learnings that we can draw from our recent experience. First, digital technologies and innovation have played a crucial role in ensuring quick responses to the crisis. Second, as the race for survival intensifies, more innovation would emerge. The less innovative firms would fall behind. Third, it's not only the innovative firms that survived, the more resilient firms thrived during the crisis. Now, resilience to external shocks is seen as a competitive advantage. As we enter the new normal, we would expect firms to tailor production and supply systems to changing behavior. This would require agility in production and supply systems enabled by advanced technology and automated processes. At the same time, there's a need to adopt new ways of working to increase resilience, and all this need shared responsibility and collaboration between industry, academia, and government. We view these new technologies as drivers to achieve an inclusive, resilient, and sustainable industrial development. Through the use of artificial intelligence, for example, we can create new products and services, leading to jobs and income opportunities, as well as to new activities. By adopting smart manufacturing, we can improve productivity. At the same time, new technologies can reduce our material and energy use. Our industrial strategy is given by I3S, or Inclusive Innovation Industrial Strategy. I3S aims to grow globally competitive and innovative industries. Innovation is at the front and center of our new industrial policy. The strategy has 6 major pillars: embracing Industry 4.0 along with developing innovative startups and MSMEs, integrating our production system, especially deepening our global value chain participation, bridging the gaps in our innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem, upskilling and reskilling our workforce, and creating an enabling business environment. Using technologies like voice recognition, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, robotics, 5G connectivity, and Internet of Things, we can create new products or solutions in the following areas: smart buildings and smart home technology, smart manufacturing, precision agriculture, digital health, e-gaming, smart assistants, vehicle technology, resilient technology, including audio, video, and education technology. DTI initiatives are geared towards helping our companies shift to industry transformation. We have been carrying out an awareness building program through Industry 4.0 workshops. We also plan to build Industry 4.0 Pilot Factory and SME Academy to provide Industry 4.0 trainings to MSMEs. At the same time, we also encourage companies to embark on their own industrial transformation, first by going through the SIRI assessment or the Smart Industry Readiness Index, the gold standard in Industry 4.0 assessment. We are partnering with the World Economic Forum, Asian Development Bank, and tech companies like Siemens in assessing the technology readiness of companies using SIRI. The Create or Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises Act provides support measures for innovative projects that companies could access as they implement their industrial transformation plans. DTI is also working with TESDA, CHED, and DepEd, as well as with industry and academe, including TechVoc institutions, in formulating our skills development framework to prepare our workforce for the jobs of the future and ensure that the skills demanded by companies would be sufficiently provided. Our most recent initiative is the Artificial Intelligence Roadmap, which focuses on uplifting the lives of our people, industries, and the economy. To accelerate innovation and MSME digitalization, one of the major recommendations of the roadmap is the building of a center for AI research. The AI Center is going to be a public-private partnership and would serve as a hub for data scientists and researchers to perform collaborative AI R&D, provide consultancy services, create AI tech products, conduct data literacy programs, and attract leading global firms to set up R&D activities in the Philippines. Our areas of focus include precision farming to improve the productivity of the agriculture sector and increase the incomes of farmers, along with smart manufacturing, healthcare services, AI-powered business process outsourcing, smart cities, and resilient technology. Amid the pandemic, many Filipino startups were able to quickly pivot to new activities and, using new technologies, provided solutions to help government in addressing pandemic issues. This year, the Philippines has just seen its first unicorn fintech company, Mint. Startups have emerged as key drivers of economic recovery, inclusive and sustainable growth, and job creation. We also view startups as catalysts for disruptive innovation. To accelerate the Philippine startup ecosystem, we are focusing on increasing the number of startups, expanding early-stage funding, and building the quality of startups. we are starting to provide incubation, acceleration, valuation, and corporate entrepreneurship programs which aim to help startups grow and scale up their business operations. We are also going to implement a global acceleration program to immerse and expose Philippine startups to the global ecosystem and enable them to pursue global business development and fundraising. Together with the National Development Company, we would also be implementing a fund of funds program and co-investment program together with venture capitalists and other partners. An initial amount of $5 million has been allocated for this matching investment program. We are supporting 8 regional inclusive innovation centers in the country located in major cities like Cebu, Davao, and Cagayan de Oro. The goal is to bridge the gaps in the innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem by linking together startups and spin-offs from universities with government agencies and the business sector and accelerate the commercialization of their products and services. These innovation centers serve as venues for design thinking workshops along with networking and engagement with the academe and industry. Let me also share our Cities and Municipalities Competitiveness Index program, an annual ranking of Philippine cities and municipalities to build and strategically map out and track competitiveness at the local level through a set of indicators under 4 major pillars: economic dynamism, government efficiency, infrastructure, and resiliency. This year, we added another important pillar: innovation. The innovation pillar is crucial as LGUs are starting to focus on strengthening their own innovation policies and programs and finding ways on how new technologies could be used to address issues pertaining to business registrations, permits, productivity, or financial deepening. Making innovation at the heart of LGU policies would enable them to grow more dynamic local economies. To see the competitiveness landscape at the local level, you may want to check out our CMCI website at cmci.dti.gov.ph. The drive towards digital transformation would lead to more innovation and application of new technologies in addressing social, economic, environment, and health problems. But we know that this entails a lot of hard work. Innovation is only 5% inspiration and 95% perspiration. Invention becomes innovation only when the idea is commercialized. Implementing an idea is a lot of hard work. That's why it's 95% perspiration. Pursuing disruptive innovation is a critical element, so the need to focus on creating a new market or disrupting an existing market, looking at mass market needs and identifying which areas are being neglected by incumbents and making a more accessible and affordable product. Another important element is the adoption of an open innovation approach. We can do external R&D by partnering with others who could help us build a better business model and looking for partnerships and collaboration models, and then scaling innovation. Transformational change is 90% human and only 10% digital. Transformational change is about faith in people. We must put people at the center of our digital transformation, as technologies are only as powerful as the people who will build, use, and improve on these technologies. People have the creativity, vision, and ethical judgment that technology only augments. We keep the people at the center of all our fourth industrial revolution transformation plans, with focus on inclusive growth and enabling people at every level of society to take part in building an innovative and creative future. Let us all continue to work together as we embark on our digital transformation and innovation journey, ensuring shared prosperity for all and that no one is left behind. Maraming salamat po at magandang umaga.
Thank you, Yusek Aldaba, for sharing with us how the public and private sectors collaborate to ensure innovation across the nation. It is such a crucial partnership. Now, moving on to our second speaker, who will help us understand more about the Digital Transformation Act of 2020. As chairman of the Senate Committee on Energy and Committee on Economic Affairs during the 17th Congress, he steered both committees with one goal in mind: to protect and empower the Filipino consumers. He strove towards the passage of several key measures aimed at fostering a competitive, investor-friendly, and red tape-free environment in the energy sector and in the Philippine economy in general. He has successfully steered the passage of pro-consumer legislation that has been signed into law by President Rodrigo Duterte. Among the laws he has authored are the Resiliency Fund Act, the Energy Virtual One-Stop Shop Act, the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act, the Philippine Innovation Act, and the Philippine Number Portability Act. Notably, he has filed a bill that aims to provide full integrated e-government services to the public by 2022. The bill seeks to harmonize common data related to persons, transportation, business and land, among others. It also mandates the government to invest in developing organizational capability and staff competencies that will support national digital transformation. Indeed, his commitment to genuine reform and public service continues to drive him in pursuing a better Philippines. Please, let's give some virtual applause to the Honorable Senator Sherwin Gatchalian.
Thank you, Ria. Thank you for that kind introduction. Before I go into my topic, let me greet Chairman Jaime Augusto Zubel de Ayala. Let me also greet President Ernest Cu. Let me also greet Yusek Fita Aldaba, Governor Dax Cua. I understand Mayor Rex Gatchalian is also here. He is the second most handsome Gatchalian in politics. And let me also greet Ambassador Peter Kell. And let me personally thank Ambassador Peter Kell for visiting Valenzuela last week. Thank you very much, sir, for visiting the city and looking at our different programs, both in governance and in tourism. We're trying to promote our tourism because we're a highly urbanized city. So again, thank you very much for inviting me to this very important event hosted by Globe. And I prepared a short presentation for today, and I was actually given a very specific topic, which pertains to a bill that I filed, and this is the bill on Full Digital Transformation Act of 2020. Obviously, 2020 has already passed, and this bill will probably not be enacted, but it's a bill that I filed to make a statement that government needs to transform itself digitally, especially after our experience with the pandemic. The pandemic has accelerated e-payments, e-commerce, and hopefully e-government. But I'll discuss that later on during the course of my presentation. So I was given a specific topic. This is Senate Bill number 1793, which I filed last year. And the aim of this bill is very simple: to digitalize everything in government, from pre-employment services to application of business permits and so on. But it's actually a twin bill from a bill that I filed. I called Cabecera 2030. And this bill aims to move the seat of government to New Clark City. Later on, I'll discuss some examples of that. But when we filed the Cabecera 2030, the direction there is to digitalize, full digital transformation of government, and after achieving that, move the center of government to Clark. because when everything is digitalized, and obviously you don't need to talk to anyone in government, everything can be transacted through online and through the internet. So you don't need to physically go to, let's say DNR or DPWH or LTO. Everything can be done online. So hence, we can move the seat of government to New Clark City, which is an expansive area. The concept there is to put everyone in the same location. As we all know, government is scattered all over Metro Manila. You have Malacanang in one place, you have DFA in one place, you have all the branches of government in different parts of Metro Manila. And it's very cumbersome for people coming from the province, navigating through 2-hour, sometimes 3-hour traffic, moving from one place to the other. Some of our constituents from the province who come to Manila, particularly to deal with government, takes them almost a week just to go around and to talk to the different secretaries or apply for different permits. So the concept there is move everything to New Clark City, and everything should be done. All the transaction can be done or should be done through the internet. Going into my topic, as we all know, I think this is the main takeaway from the pandemic. If there's any good that came out of the pandemic, it's digitalization and its acceleration. This is a slide that I got from Google. In fact, Google presented to us a few times on their findings. And I won't discuss everything on this slide, but I'll discuss the two leftmost slides. The internet economy grew after the pandemic. It actually doubled, almost doubled, from $9 billion to $17 billion in the Philippines. And it's poised to triple by 2025 to $40 billion. So no doubt, the pandemic accelerated the value of our internet economy. And it grew basically across the board, from e-commerce to transportation and food to online travel, especially online travel. Actually, I find myself booking everything online. Actually, I don't use the travel agency anymore because they're also working from home. So we see across the board, the different sectors, there's a tremendous boom of online transaction, or what we call the internet economy, across all sectors. And that goes with e-payments, because with the internet economy comes with e-payments. And we can see that electronic money transactions also almost doubled from 2019 to 2020. And the value actually is quite phenomenal, from 1.4 trillion pesos to 2.4 trillion pesos, almost double in 2020. So we can see that internet transactions and the value of internet transactions went on a phenomenal increase during the pandemic. So the main takeaway here is the pandemic pushed the adoption of the internet economy faster. And over the past few weeks, while watching Bloomberg, I saw a lot of fintech companies going IPO in the last few months, from Indonesia to Korea to India. And we can see a slew of fintech companies going IPO, trying to catch the wave of increase in internet transactions and the internet economy. And also, from a survey or study from Euromonitor, the internet economy in the Philippines will still continue to increase. So they projected that e-commerce particularly will increase to about $500 billion pesos by 2025. So in other words, moving forward, e-commerce and the internet economy will continue to grow even after the pandemic. But what about government? And this is the big question mark. No doubt that the private sector, both demand and supply side, both supply and demand side, has grew tremendously in terms of e-commerce and internet transactions because of the pandemic. But what about government? In fact, government remains stagnant, although it grew a little bit. This is a survey by UNE government, and they had an index to identify the scope of e-government or e-governance in different parts of Southeast Asia. And we can see that the Philippines is in the middle of the pack. If Singapore is the gold standard, we're still far off from the gold standard. And if you look at the different branches of government, basically all the branches of government have a website. The website is actually the easiest part. No? But if you see the municipalities, only 58% of the municipalities, only 58% of municipalities have a functioning website. They have a website, but if you go there, it's not functioning or it's unusable, basically. So, but basically, all the different branches of government, at least, have a website. And if we look at from the demand side of things, even our constituents are not quite used to transacting with government through the internet. And only 19% of our constituents are accessing e-government through the websites or any portal. And a big 81% are still doing the manual things. So this is actually a big challenge to educate. I really believe that cultural transformation should not only happen within government, but also outside of government. In fact, we saw this in Valenzuela when we launched our vaccination system, because we only allowed vaccination through online booking. And this was actually a big debate between me and Mayor Rex, because a large part of our constituents said that they don't know how to use the vaccination portal. But I was saying, if they can dance with TikTok and they can post a lot of chismis with Facebook, there's no reason why they cannot use our vaccination portal. So we made the decision that you can only get your vaccine and all of the health protocols through our website. And people were actually forced, but it's a good thing because they learned how to use digital platforms to access health protocols. But across the country, it's still a big gap in terms of educating our constituents in using the website, using digital portals to access government services. And if you ask the local governments, how many of them are actually using their portal or their website to register businesses, it's actually quite depressing. If you see across the different types of LGUs, only 39% of LGUs have some form of online business registration. Unfortunately, there's no extensive survey across different agencies, for example, GOCCs, or for example, national government agencies. There's only a survey conducted across LGUs, and this is by DILG, and only 39% of LGUs have some form of portal or website to register businesses. So there's a big gap between the private sector and also government when it comes to the internet economy. While the private sector is growing at a rapid pace in terms of e-payments, in terms of e-commerce and everything, government is lagging. And unfortunately, in my experience going around and also talking to a lot of LGUs, this seems to be the weakness of our internet economy in our country. If e-governance is a part of internet economy, this is the biggest weakness. And we have to push government to increase the use of internet in all types of transactions. I think even though there's no extensive survey, but for me, the basic and the most practical survey is what the man on the street, what Juan de la Cruz is experiencing when he applies for a job. And these are the different pre-employment requirements. I think we have one of the most cumbersome pre-employment requirements. So if you are an unemployed Filipino and you plan to apply for a job, these are all the things that you need to accomplish. And and if you can see, NBI clearance, police clearance, and even PhilHealth membership are all done manually. So you have to go to NBI, you have to go to your nearest police station, you have to go to your nearest PhilHealth office to get their pre-employment requirements. And this is what our constituents experience when they apply for a job. So if just basic, no? Our people are still being hampered with manual processes, even in applying for a job. And we need to correct this. No? Wala ka na ng trabaho, pinahihirapan ka pa. No? So we need to correct this. So I was mentioning earlier that the Full Digital Transformation Act has a twin bill, and this is the Bisera 2030, and this is patterned after center of governments in different parts of the globe. For example, in Malaysia, Putrajaya, which I've been to, it's fantastic. Everything is there. You have Brasilia in Brazil, New Cairo City in Egypt. And the most latest is the proposal in Indonesia by law to move the capital in East Kalimantan, including the seat of government. So the concept here is to decongest Metro Manila by moving the seat of government, not the seat of capital, but the seat of government to Clark, put everything there from the president's office to the vice president's office to even the senators and the congressmen and all the different departments into one place. And constituents need not go to New Clark City to transact. Everything is done online. So just to share with you the vision of Valenzuela when it comes to digitalization, this is the vision. No one is in City Hall. Correct? This is actually our vision that no Valenzuelano will come to City Hall to access government services. It should be as empty as this. No? And because we want to put everything online. You don't need to go to the social services office to get your financial assistance. You can apply online. We'll remit it to you by GCash. No, of course, I have to plug GCash. This is a Globe event. And if you need to apply your business permit, you just do online. If you need to apply your building permit, you just do online. So our vision is no one will come to City Hall anymore. And we started this vision in 2004 when I became mayor. We started with all these different platforms. One is the geographical information system. Everything in Valenzuela is in a map, just like Google Map. And we can measure everything. So you don't have to come to City Hall and measure your house. You can actually measure that digitally. When you apply for building permit, we built our own contactless terminal because, as we all know, engineering is one of the most corrupt departments because of its complications. So in Valenzuela, we built this terminal so that no one will talk to the engineers inside. Everything is done electronically and no face-to-face interaction. And to apply for a business permit in Valenzuela, you only need 10 seconds, because we practice what we call the post-audit mechanism. You apply now and we audit you later, basically. And the presumption there is all taxpayers are honest. In the current system right now, the presumption is all taxpayers are not honest. So we audit you first before we give you the business permit. But we all know the auditing takes years sometimes. So in Valenzuela, we reversed it. We give you the business permit now, and then we audit you throughout the year. But Mayor Rex actually consolidated all this online government services into one portal. And this is Valenzuela City Online Services. So everything is done now online. You can get your birth certificate, your marriage certificate. Your family can get the person's death certificate through online. The health certificates is done online. If you want to build a building and you need a zoning clearance, everything is done online. So basically everything, from business to real estate, real property taxes, to civil registry, to health, is done online. And we're moving everything, even social services, to be online because the vision there is no one will come to City Hall. So with that, again, thanks to the private sector, we have all the tools to move the country forward into a full digital economy. But the weakest link right now is unfortunately government. And rest assured that we're pushing for more legislation to transform government into a full digital services government. So once again, thank you very much for inviting me.
And thank you very much, Senator Gatchalian, for sharing with us and helping us better understand the Digital Transformation Act of 2020. We cannot wait for the day that all government processes can be done online. The importance of digital innovation during these extraordinary times cannot be overemphasized. Suddenly, there's this big need for online transactions. GCash, the leading mobile wallet in the country today, remains true to its mission of providing easy access for online money transactions. And to know more about how GCash can help you, please watch this.
The Philippines is one of the most dynamic economies in Asia, with abundant natural resources and a vibrant labor market driven by diverse Filipino talent. Substantial success is well within reach. In the face of adversity, we will rise as a nation powered by innovation. Innovation that opens doors and opportunities to more and more Filipinos towards achieving financial inclusion and our ultimate goal of living a better life.
Initially, most Filipinos have never really had the opportunity to take part in formal financial services. Complex processes, expensive entry costs to access. Since several years now, GCash has been doing its part to change this by democratizing access to financial services, as shown by our growth stats. Previous to the pandemic, we were already seeing a significant increase of GCash user activity. That's the result from hard work in several years of GCash teams to keep on improving the GCash product and the GCash experience, but also successful partnerships between private entities, GCash, Globe, Ayala to name a few, and public partners, mainly BSP and LGUs. When the world closed down, we helped keep the economy going. We provide users easy access to transfer money and to purchase essentials. We enable merchants to quickly accept cashless payments. And most importantly, we became the platform of choice to help other people through donation, government, and LGU aids. At GCash, our advocacies are a natural extension of being a purpose-driven organization. Beyond growing our business, what drives us every day is seeing how we can help the communities around us. Everything that we do is anchored on our purpose, making Filipinos' everyday lives better.
We at GCash will continue to deliver our promise of making finance accessible to all Filipinos, driven by our purpose to be one with the nation. This is our aspiration. This is our commitment.
Okay, a great video there for what's in store. And we all know that GCash is part of our daily lives. It really is. Innovation in government is about finding new ways to impact the lives of everyone. It means getting rid of old structures and embracing new technologies and ideas. With this in mind, I'm sure this next talk will be an eye-opener for everyone who wants to know the process of innovating and having a more digitally enabled government. Our next speaker was the Deputy Head of Mission and Consul General at the New Zealand Embassy in Tokyo from February 2015 to April 2019 and Acting Ambassador from April to July of 2019. Before that, he served in Wellington for 5 years in the Human Resources Division and Chief Executive's Office before undertaking a secondment to the Office of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. His last role in Wellington was a principal advisor to the Deputy Secretary of the Americas and Asia Group. Everyone, please welcome New Zealand's Ambassador to the Philippines, the Honorable Peter Kell.
Thank you, Ria, for that warm introduction. Salamat po, Ria, sa inyong napakagandang pagpapakilala sa akin. First of all, I would like to acknowledge my fellow speakers, a stellar lineup. Jaime Augusto Zobel de Ayala, Chairman of the Ayala Corporation, Peter Makira, Senior Vice President, Kokoi Claraval, Vice President, both of the Enterprise Group of Globe Telecom. Of course, a dear friend of the embassy, Bill Luz, Michael Agustin, Senator Win Gachalian, Governor Daxco of Carino, Valenzuela City Mayor Rex Gachalian, Undersecretary Fita Aldaba and her colleagues, Director Lillian Saloma, Catherine Jones, a fellow New Zealander from the Creative HQ based in Wellington, New Zealand, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, to all of you out there in Zoom land listening in on this session, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. I'm very happy to be here today. I would like to first acknowledge and congratulate Globe Telecom for organizing this timely and valuable seminar. Over the past 2 years, New Zealand has been working closely with the Philippines on ways to streamline regulatory processes to support businesses. This partnership started many years ago, actually. I think Catherine was part of the original team that worked with Bill Luz, who was then in government. But I'm really pleased to share with you that this working relationship has culminated, developed into a partnership between the Anti-Red Tape Authority and the New Zealand government on the ease of doing business and public sector efficiency. I was delighted to sign a memorandum of cooperation with the Director General of ARTA, Jeremiah Bojika, a couple of months ago here at the residence on the 14th of September. So today, as a bit of a scene setter from me, I really would like to boil down my comments into 4 things. The first is that New Zealand is pleased to be partnering with the Philippines on strengthening the public sector to improve the ease of doing business. We acknowledge the goals that the Philippines has set, and I was delighted to hear about the strategy that Undersecretary Aldaba outlined this morning. And indeed, we're very, very happy to be sharing our knowledge of how to be a better government service, particularly when it comes to supporting businesses and also those stakeholders that depend on businesses for livelihood. And so ease of doing business is often synonymous with New Zealand government and its approach to government. And for those of you who know, every year the World Bank has conducted a survey called the Ease of Doing Business survey. And for many years, New Zealand has topped that survey and been number 1. So how did we get to be number 1? Well, there are many reasons, but a key one has been the way we have embraced digital government. And that's the focus for today's webinar. So that was my second point I wanted to make here today. The third point really is, so when we talk about digital transformation in New Zealand, what are some of the key characteristics? I'm pleased to share with you that in many ways there is nothing new under the sun. And many of those characteristics have already been noted by our previous speakers from this morning's session. The one we start with, and I would bold this and capitalize it if I could, and that is we see digital government as putting people first. So you start from the people. Often in government, we have a tendency to start from government and then work out. But actually, in the New Zealand experience, the trend now is to put the person first, put the people first. And then another characteristic is to focus on what they need from government. And that's easy to say, but if you really think that through, how do you know what people need? How do you truly know what they need and not what they want? And so there's a lot packed into that statement. But that's the second thing that I think New Zealand government has spent a lot of time on, particularly in the last 10 years. And what does that mean? So that means how, once we've identified the needs of people, how do we meet them using emerging technologies data, and what are the changes that we need to make to government culture, practices, and processes to achieve this. And all of these points have been mentioned before, Senator Wynne, you said Galdava. But certainly in New Zealand, that's become a real theme of the way government has pivoted to better meet the needs of its people. Another really key point that I would like to stress is collaboration. This is really important. Why is it important? Because in New Zealand over the last decade, there is a prevailing view that government services should no longer be siloed. Health, budget, education. There is now a trend, and it's a global trend, that government services should, as best as it is possible, be integrated to provide to the needs of people. So how do you integrate services? You need to talk to each other. So collaboration across government services becomes incredibly important. And then lastly, that collaboration doesn't need to remain within the borders of a jurisdiction. Actually, there are a lot of amazing trends, learnings, projects undertaken by other governments in other jurisdictions around the world. So another key feature of the New Zealand approach is that we leverage international partnerships that allow New Zealand to not only share knowledge, but also work with other governments on common problems. So those are some of the key characteristics of the New Zealand approach. And as I'm sure you will agree, they're not special to New Zealand, because clearly some of these points have already been mentioned by the earlier speakers. Now, how do we keep all of these characteristics together? Well, like here in the Philippines, we too have a vision in New Zealand, a vision of New Zealand's public service being modern at heart and a service that allows all New Zealanders to thrive in a digital age. So again, very small, simple words, but if you really think about what that means, modern, yeah? How does government maintain relevance as the world changes around us? How does it continue to be modern? Digital age. What does digital mean? And clearly there is a very large technology piece to that. But in New Zealand, we define digital, at least the government's approach to this, in a broader way. And it's not just about the technologies that we use, but it's also about how we think about how government should meet the needs of its people. In other words, it starts from within. It starts from the mind, as it were. And so having the right mindset to meet the needs of people in this modern digital age is the most important thing when you look to reform, modernize your process. And so for us, when we talk about digital, we mean it's doing things differently in an increasingly connected world. So using new mindsets, new skill sets, new technologies, and data to benefit people, government, and the economy. I won't dwell on this too much, but certainly some of the earlier speakers have picked up on the point around data, because clearly for people, all of us, we want to know that any data about us is safe. It's treated safely. It's handled in a secure manner, and it's private. And so how you manage data becomes an incredibly important part of pivoting to a new way of doing government, whereby there will be a lot more information flowing around different agencies. Okay, so in New Zealand, like here in the Philippines, we have a strategy that kind of pulls all of this together. It's called the Digital Public Service Strategy. And some of the features of the strategy, I will point out a couple. First of all, it's very explicit that the New Zealand government is trying to give the New Zealand people the same speed and quality of experience with government agencies that they have with private sector organizations. And already we have seen from earlier speakers that there is a massive gap in most of our economies between how private sector can respond to the needs of people and how government can. But I just wanted to share with you that we've made that very explicit in our strategy back in New Zealand. That's kind of one of our aspirations. The other element, which I've already talked about, is that this strategy is grounded in a holistic approach to government. In other words, an integrated service to people, not a siloed service through different agencies. And then the last element, and this too has been picked up by earlier speakers, but at the end of the day, New Zealand people are increasingly expecting to be involved in the design of services that government provides to them. So how do you as a government agency then, or as a government service, ensure that you can create the relationships with those people to understand what they need and then have them part of the design of the solution? So there's another element that's increasingly becoming commonplace in the way we do government in New Zealand. So how is New Zealand doing this? So three things that I will pick up on. The first is that we have introduced systems and design thinking to the way we do government. We have adopted newer ways of organizing and planning government. And three, we leverage digital technology. And that, of course, is the focus of today's webinar. I'll take those 3 points in reverse order. The last point first, digital technology. I mean, I don't need to explain to you the need for digital infrastructure, because without this, it is simply impossible to achieve other priorities. So I won't belabor this point. The second point around doing things in a new way, I will give you two examples, and we've heard some wonderful examples from Senator Wynne about what is happening in Valenzuela City. I've seen them with my own eyes. But some of the things that we have introduced in New Zealand, one is called Smart Start. And this is a multi-agency services actually based around key events in people's lives, like having a baby. The other example I will give you is that we have created the world's first fully online passport renewal service. And we've actually now extended that service to new passports too. So these are just two examples of how government has organized itself differently to provide a better service to its people. The first of those 3 points, and the last that I will talk about, is around systems and design thinking. Now, many of you, and I now focus my comments to fellow government officials, particularly those in local government or regional government, you may well be thinking that this is all great and it's good stuff, Ambassador Cal, but how would my agency innovate, transform itself from where it is to where it wants to be? Well, that's a very good question, and clearly some of this is already happening in the Philippines. We've heard from earlier speakers. But I am going to leave that answer to the next speaker from New Zealand, Catherine Jones, the CEO of Creative HQ, who can share with you what innovation means in New Zealand and how Creative HQ has helped government agencies in New Zealand and elsewhere in the world to do precisely that. But as I said before, you can get this experience in the Philippines. And let me circle back to where I started by talking about the partnership between New Zealand and the Philippines. I'm pleased to share with you that under this partnership, we're delighted that Creative HQ has been able to work together with ARTA, one other national government agency, and two local governments, Valenzuela City and Quezon City, to explore how we can launch some pilot projects that will help these Philippine government agencies, whether national or local, better improve and innovate the delivery of their services. So I just wanted to say that you can get a sense of the New Zealand experience in a very practical way if that's something that you think your government is willing to consider now. I'm almost finished. I just want to say that I hope through this webinar we might find new ways for New Zealand and the Philippines to work together to promote the best practice development of digital thinking in that broader sense that I referred to, but also technologies that underpin a lot of the promise of new ways of thinking about things. And this is focused on how we can help government put the needs of the people at the center of what government does. So I'm very excited to be able to be part of this webinar today, and it just leaves it for me to say maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Thank you very much. So over to you, Ria.
Ambassador Kel, maraming salamat sa iyo, or Kiora. Nagulat ako, ang galing-galing niyo po mag-Tagalog. But New Zealand really does have a special place in my heart. I actually grew up there, and certainly the leadership in that country right now is something to aspire to. So thank you very much. Now, delivering services to every Filipino is at the heart of what most government agencies do. Paying taxes, renewing driver's licenses, and renewing passports are just among the things that we need to do. Hence, the government plays a vital role in providing services that are not just efficient, but also more accessible to many. So how does the government keep up? Our next talk, entitled Driving Progress Through Citizen-Centric Methodologies, will be discussed by another guest speaker from New Zealand. She is the CEO of Creative HQ, New Zealand's leading innovation company owned by the government unit of Wellington, the capital city of New Zealand. The company also collaborates with startups and large corporations in terms of innovation. And prior to working at Creative HQ, she had a comprehensive career in investment banking and law in New Zealand and overseas. So everybody, please give a warm welcome to Ms. Catherine Jones.
Thank you, Ria, and good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak to you today. It's such a treat to have such an amazing audience there in the Philippines, sitting here in Wellington. I'm going to talk to you today about public sector innovation and the programs that we run and how they might be able to help you with some of the problems that you want to solve within your government as you move to further e-governance. So, government inefficiency is the root of most of development problems. And we know this from World Bank data. We know this from working with various governments, both in New Zealand and around the world. And the development problems that are facing citizens and facing government agencies are becoming more complex and increasingly urgent to solve. We've all experienced that globally with the health pandemic over the last 18 months. We understand it with climate change. These are really big, urgent problems, and they are upon us. But innovation can help with solving these problems. And in fact, we've seen over the last 18 months how innovation has emerged as the single most important ingredient in any modern economy. And governments need to embrace it. Startups, private sector have embraced it. Governments need to as well. And innovation is a word that most of us know, and most of us have an interpretation of what it is. But at Creative HQ, we define it as doing something new that's actually implemented. It has a bias towards action, and it must deliver value, and it must deliver early value. So when governments innovate, what it means is they're actually better able to service their citizens by creating a more trusted, more inclusive, and a more sustainable public sector. So government innovation, or Gov Tech innovation, as we call it at Creative HQ, has three components. The first component are the government agencies, the providers of the services to their citizens, and really importantly, as we heard with Peter talking, they're the custodian of data and values of the citizens, the people that they serve. And then you've got the citizens, and they have an increasing desire to engage and transact with government digitally, because in a world where you can order your pizza and book your traffic, book your airfares and do your internet banking all on the convenience of your smartphone, people also want to engage with public service in the same manner and just as easily. And then you have the third element is innovation. So it's new approaches and new technologies that will enable this inclusive and citizen-led public service. And what we know from years and years of government improvement is that if you want the same result, do the same thing. But if you really want to change public service, you need to do something different. Technology enables us to do things much more different. It enables us to do things much more efficiently. It enables us to interact with citizens in a way that we've never interacted with them before. And it enables us to do all of that at pace. But we as government agencies must interact with our citizens. We must engage them in the process, not just adopt the technology and assume that citizens will come and they will engage with it. All three pillars of this are equally as important. So when governments innovate, it solves the root cause problems because it builds citizen-centric solutions. It enables co-design and collaboration between the citizens that government agencies are set up to serve, between the government agencies, and crucially with private sector organisations, both big and small. And it promotes those core government imperatives of trust and transparency, and ultimately what it creates is a more sustainable economy for you. Here we have a quote by our Minister of Building and Construction, and we know this is one of the issues that faces several of the LGUs in the Philippines, is around construction permits. And she said, as she came along to our Gov Tech Accelerator program, which I'm going to tell you about soon, she said, look, we can very easily break down barriers to work together better. Technology, data, all that stuff's really important. And we have to adopt it and we have to look at ways to innovate. So the GovTech market globally is worth over 400 billion now, and with a growth rate of 15%, it's expected to hit 1 trillion by 2025. So this isn't new. This is growing, and it's growing rapidly. And New Zealand offers a global leading GovTech innovation program. So this has been well documented as a leading program in the world. It helps, as Ambassador Cal said earlier, that New Zealand is number one on ease of doing business. We do have a very innovative government ourselves. And part of that is to do with our size. You know, with a population the size of New Zealand's, we're like a petri dish. So we can experiment with our government service and we can hone it, and then we can take what we have learned to the rest of the world. So this world-leading government innovation program that we run at Creative HQ, is a 12-week structured accelerator program. And it runs very similar to an accelerator program that you might use to run, to build startups and create investable, scalable startups. So it includes teams of people, generally 4 to 8 people from a government agency form a team, and each team is tackling one big and urgent problem which has been identified as their agency, by their government agency as a problem worth solving. It's big enough and it's urgent enough that if you can solve it with citizens, for citizens, then you will be able to transform public service. And the teams apply the same tools and methodologies under close guidance and coaching from an innovation coach at Creative HQ. They apply these to first of all unpack the problem that they're trying to solve, and then ideate on a truly transformative solution to that problem. Not an incremental change, but something that's really going to keep pace with technology, keep pace with citizens' expectations, and put citizens right back at the heart of that public service design. And then the crucially, and this is really important to help us create a sustainable government as well, the teams of people that actually participate in the GovTech program develop skills that they can use on their next project, the next problem they're trying to solve more and more problems in the future. So the more of your team, the more government agency workers you have who are trained in these skills of innovation and these tool sets of innovation and the process of innovation, the more people you train in that and have participate in programs like this, the faster your government agency is going to be able to innovate. So the New Zealand GovTech Accelerator program, as I said, is 12 weeks or 3 months. That's the bit of this box that is circled. And then before that, you need to identify the problem that you want to solve, and you need to select the team of citizens, and you won't have trouble finding passionate citizens who really want to change government. They're selected to take part in the program. The program itself is 3 months full-time. And then they give a showcase. We have a showcase event at the end where they present their work over that 3 months to government agencies with their plan for how they're going to scale that out and execute it. And I've got here a breakdown of the 12 weeks in the program, which is very much, again, how a startup would build their own business. And it starts with understanding the root cause of the problem, not assuming that we as government service providers know the answer, but actually really going out, engaging with citizens and finding what the root causes of the problem that they're facing. And then you go through a period of ideating on what various solutions might be to that problem, looking at what other government agencies are doing around the world, look at what private sector are doing to solve similar problems, perhaps in different industries or different sectors, and then building a prototype of what that solution is, testing it, measuring it, without a huge investment first, but getting all of that feedback from citizens, because you can build something that you think citizens want to engage with, but unless you've actually tested it with them, unless you've had their input into how to perfect it, then you're not going to get citizen engagement at the end of it. So you're going to end up with a shiny piece of technology that nobody wants to engage with or nobody knows how to engage with. And then you develop a roadmap for how you're going to grow and implement that solution and roll it out to a greater number of citizens. And then ultimately that project will go back into the government agency to be rolled out. So the program that we run at Creative HQ isn't just about having teams of people working on a solution, but it's actually creating some real energy and collaboration across teams who are working in the project, in the program. So we have things like online meet and experience events where the teams get to view each other's work and interact and look for ways that their government agencies can collaborate. And we run interventions throughout the 12 weeks, like full-day hackathons where the teams are all working really, really fast at pace on a particular aspect of their project. And we do lots of in-person or virtual meet and greet experiences with lots of guest speakers, really senior members of government, senior members of private practice, coming in and providing their input to the teams along the way to help everybody get as far and as fast as they can during those 12 weeks. And we always end our Gov Tech program with a large showcase event. The latest version of the New Zealand Gov Tech Accelerator program was held in Parliament on the 16th of November, so just a couple of weeks ago. And it's really important that the teams get to showcase the work that they have been doing in the Accelerator program, that they get to celebrate it, that everybody else gets to celebrate it, and that it's used to inspire all of the citizens around them and other government officials around them as to what can be achieved at pace with the right program and the right support and the right technology in place to support it. I'm just going to show you a short video now, about 3 minutes long, of the latest New Zealand Gov Tech program, Accelerator program, so you can see what it actually looks like in person. Creative HQ is about innovation, and the Gov Tech program is about innovation in the public sector.
This globally unique innovation program provides an opportunity for government agencies to tackle their urgent challenges by taking government teams outside of BAU through a 13-week creative innovation process.
The result of the process that gets applied during the program taps into new ways of solving some of these problems the tried and true measures haven't solved before.
The problem teams are facing can't be solved in silos and always require some degree of collaboration.
We're so excited to have 8 teams from all across Aotearoa who are working to make a more culturally, socially, environmentally and economically sustainable New Zealand. The Gov Tech Accelerator supports these teams in a super unique way, from innovation coaches to leadership coaches to business case specialists to our pairahi. The diversity of minds in the space working together at any one time. Innovators, creators, key policy leaders, people who are so passionate about creating a positive difference in the world.
What you have here is people who impressively are able to take themselves out of their normal environment, are able to stand back and see how the system's working and are motivated to change it.
We absolutely need innovation to better inform the work that we do to create a better future for our tamariki and mokopuna.
Making change and impact feels really hard sometimes. So innovation is a great way of making progress and getting some momentum and making a difference quickly.
We support teams to ensure that they engage with users who experience the problem firsthand, ensuring that they're solving the root cause of the problem, gaining the requisite buy-in from the system players, and designing solutions that are fit for purpose.
Having the opportunity to hear from the public and really experience a problem from their perspective will fundamentally change the way I work as a public servant into the future.
There are a few things that will stay with me beyond the programme, certainly the new skills I've picked up, and I think it's the enduring friendships and working relationships that we've built up that will run way beyond the scope of the programme.
You've just got so much resource at your fingertips. With that excitement and energy that a 3-month time frame brings, it makes it a really magic experience to be part of.
I think it's really important that we're constantly driving that sector to be positioning this country to be as successful as it possibly can be on the world stage.
It's not just about these 13 weeks. It's about upskilling participants, building confidence and leadership skills, entrenching client-centric design processes, and creating a movement of impactful innovation within the public sector.
So there's certain conditions that will set a program like this up for success, and I just wanted to go over those quickly. So first of all, you must have permission from the most senior government officials to innovate and to come into a program like this and wholly adopt it and embrace it and trust the process. And it helps if the problems that the teams are solving are strategically aligned with those agency priorities and with budget allocated to them to not only participate in the program, but to continue with those initiatives after they've left the program. And it's really important that teams do come out of their BAU work within the government agency and that they can be 100% focused on the project throughout the duration of the accelerator. You need a clear problem definition. You need that collaborative mindset that we've heard about from the speakers before me. So truly an open mind, someone willing to go in and be really curious with citizens, because at the end of the day, public service is about serving citizens. They are your customers. And an open mind to collaborating with the private sector, because when government collaborates with the private sector who have the tools and have the technology to work in true partnership with them, we can better serve citizens and create a better country for ourselves. And you must trust that process. So a couple of case studies, I've only got a short period of time left, but a couple that I thought might be of interest to you is the first one was a team that we had from Taiwan, the Taiwan Water Corporation, who came in to the program, and they had limited capability to detect and repair water leakages that were happening. And so they were losing a lot of money and spending a lot of money and time repairing water leakages. And so they looked at big data and machine learning technologies so that they could detect and report water leakages on their pipelines automatically, efficiently, and accurately. And as a result of that, actually 3.5 billion litres of drinking water was saved within a really short period of time, not to mention the cost of labour and the cost to improve repair times. And this is a worldwide problem. It wasn't unique to Taiwan. So they're then able to take their technology, take their solution, and sell that on a world stage. The second case study that I wanted to share with you was what we call Community Connect. And I think this will resonate when I looked at some of the statistics on one of the graphs earlier that was shown. If you've got citizens who actually don't connect with technology, who aren't connected into technology, then actually you can create these e-governance services, but people aren't going to engage with them because they don't have access to the technology or they don't know how to use the technology to access it. And this was a problem here that not only affected ability to learn online and to be educated, but health, housing, and several other public services which relied on digital technology. So the Ministry of Education were the lead agency on this, but they did actually have to collaborate with all of those other government agencies, and they came up with a way of putting technology into the hands of people who didn't have access to it and educating through children, educating households on how to use that. And the final case study I'm going to tell you about is one about building a financially resilient workforce. So understanding that there was a large percentage of New Zealand households who live in financial hardship. And so coming up with a way to help them get out of a cycle of debt that they were living in, that didn't just involve putting another loan on their plate, but in fact, providing financial literacy solutions and educating people on how to manage money and get themselves out of debt, which had a huge overall impact on the national debt for our Ministry of Social Development. You can see that you can map the projects that come into the Gov Tech Accelerator on those UN Sustainable Development Goals. And we've had projects, I showcase certain ones there from certain sectors, but actually pretty much all of these Sustainable Development Goals, we've had projects who are working towards those. We can apply the same methodology and tools to any sector or any government agency to solve any problem that they want to solve within the public sector. Now, if you'd like to get involved in this, we run a New Zealand Gov Tech Accelerator and we run an international Gov Tech Accelerator. So if you're prepared to accept the challenge and you would like to do this, then we can help you with that. It does involve setting up a problem statement that you would like to work on. We are next running our International Government Accelerator in early 2022. So now would be the time to start thinking about a problem that you wanted to solve, who might be in your team, and talking to us about getting a contract in place so that you could kick off your accelerator in around February or March of next year. Thank you. Back to you, Ria.
All right, thank you so much, Catherine, for sharing your experience on how to drive progress through citizen-centric innovation. And that looks like quite a program you have there. Very, very exciting. So before we proceed to one of the highlights of this morning's program, let's first learn about one of Globe's innovative projects that greatly helped local communities to make the internet accessible despite challenges in connectivity. I'm talking about the Connect Tayo Wi-Fi. Connect Tayo Wi-Fi is a fast and secure community Wi-Fi service that provides households with an affordable internet connection without needing a modem, a postpaid subscription, or even mobile data. Globe has also been active in launching its Connect Tayo services across the country to deliver on its promise to make the internet accessible to enable Filipinos to make their lives sustainable. To know more about this project, please watch this.
Every Filipino home deserves affordable internet, adequate resources, and access to opportunities. This is the driving force behind Kapit Wi-Fi, now called Connect Tayo Wi-Fi. Together with community leaders, Connect Tayo Wi-Fi focuses on areas where communities have the greatest need: education, health, livelihood, giving every student a chance to succeed.
Dahil po sa Connect Tayo Wi-Fi ay di ko na kailangan pang lumabas at pumunta sa mga computer shops para gawin ang aking mga assignments at projects. Lalo na ngayong pandemic, mas nakakatulong ito para sa aming online class.
Enabling convenient access to critical health advice.
Ginagamit ko po ang Connect Tayo Wi-Fi sa pag-update ng mga safety protocols na propose ng City Hall sa social media.
Breaking barriers to help create sustainable livelihoods.
Bilang isang online seller, sobrang importante ang internet at Connect Tayo kasi dito nakadepende ang paggasto sa araw-araw. Kailangan dumiskarte tapos limitado pa ang paggalaw dahil sa pandemic.
Malaki ang tulong ng Connect Tayo Wi-Fi sa akin lalo na ngayong may COVID. Sa pamamagitan ng internet, nagkaroon ako ng pagkakataon makabenta ng produkto ko. Malaking tulong ito sa amin lalo na sa pantustos ng pang-araw-araw namin.
Making a difference in the everyday lives of Filipino families and communities with low-cost and reliable internet.
We are very happy with the partnership that we've had with Globe, and we hope that together with Globe, we will be able to bring Iloilo to the next level.
So pwede nyo asahan mo kami sa Globe. Tuloy-tuloy ho ang aming pag-develop. Kasama nyo kami sa pag-unlad ng inyong community dito. At nandito ho kami tumulong kung naman ang kailangan nyo. Maraming salamat.
Let's get every Filipino home connected. Together, we can make it happen.
Truly, it is so crucial for every Filipino to be connected. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our speakers earlier. I'm sure the audience has learned so much from your presentations, but I'm sure there's still so much more they'd like to know. So everyone, this is your chance to ask questions. It's pretty simple to send in your questions, especially Globe Business product related inquiries. Please type in your question followed by your name and company in the Q&A button that you see on your Zoom screens, and we will try our very best to answer your questions during this segment. Get ready because there will be a lot more discussion on trends and best practices to achieve digital transformation from our distinguished panelists on a national and local perspective. And joining us to moderate our fireside chat is a consultant of Ayala Corporation, one of the oldest and largest business groups in the Philippines. He is also Chief Resilience Officer of the Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation, an organization dedicated to disaster preparedness, prevention, mitigation, response, and recovery. He also leads the Livable Cities Challenge, which focuses on improving urban planning and development. He currently serves as honorary advisor of the Asia New Zealand Foundation, advisory group member of Common Purpose, and the APEC Business Advisory Council. Previous positions include Executive Director of the Makati Business Club, Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of the Ayala Foundation, and Secretary General of NAMFREL. Everyone, please welcome Mr. Bill Luz.
Thank you, Ria, for the introduction. I'm very excited to be here. And now let us welcome back our speakers as panelists on this fireside chat. Let's please welcome back Senator Win Gatchalian, Director Lilian Salonga, representing the Department of Trade and Industry for USEC, Fita Aldaba, and Ambassador Peter Kell. Now joining them, we'd like to also invite Globe Business's commercial lead for cybersecurity. Let's please welcome Globe Business Vice President for Product Development and Engineering, Mr. Kokoy Claraval. Okay, so thanks and welcome everybody. We know you've had a very hectic schedule, so on digital transformation. So let's begin. And let me throw my first question to Secretary Win. Digitalization in government has played a central role in addressing the crisis, becoming an essential element of communication, leadership, and collaboration between policymakers and society. Now, during the height of the COVID-19 response pandemic, there was much awareness that we all need to accelerate and embrace our efforts to embrace technology, even when the crisis is over. Now, Senator Win, do you think the government was able to balance the COVID response and economic needs? How did you see that situation play out?
I'll go to the most basic bill, and I'll take off from what Ambassador Peter Kell mentioned earlier, that government service should be hinged on constituent experience. And I think that's very fundamental, that at the end of all the digital transformation is how our constituents receive and experience government services. And then linking that to the COVID response, we saw a lot of pictures, a lot of videos or pictures when government tried to give out the ayuda, the social amelioration program, to basically the entire island of Luzon. And then we're talking about close to probably I would estimate around 10 million families, close to about probably 50 million individuals. So imagine government dispensing 3,000 pesos to 10 million families, time bound, meaning they have to do this in the shortest possible time. In fact, Mayor Rex can probably talk about this earlier, because on the ground that created a lot of problems, because initially we didn't have a list. There's no national ID to talk about. So the local governments had to go house to house, survey who are the qualified, because we have to only give ayuda to the qualified. But there are also loose rules on who are qualified families and qualified individuals. So that made it very difficult. So in a nutshell, you have to look for the families, you have to determine their qualifications, and lastly, you have to dispense 3,000 pesos to all of them. We didn't have technology. Everything was done manually. So moving forward, this should not happen. This should never happen again. No? Whether it's a pandemic or a Taal volcano eruption or another Typhoon Yolanda, government's report should be conducted and done digitally. No? And this is one of the most important lessons learned from this pandemic. So again, we have to adopt technology. Calamities and this type of occurrences will happen in the future, and government should be ready to dispense assistance as quick as possible using digital platforms.
Thanks, Senator Win. I'm happy you brought up that example of the ayuda, no, because you're right. There was a problem. Really, there were so many lists. You have the CCT lists, and then the national ID was a little bit delayed, and then there were various contact tracing apps that were put in use by different cities, but none of them were really interoperable. So if I tie this all into your full digital transformation act, how do we create sort of wider, better use of IT in government, even beyond this pandemic? How do you see the way moving forward? And what agencies do you see taking the lead in making this all happen? Because right now there are multiple agencies that have touch points. So which agency should take the lead? Who should we look for?
It's good that NEDA already acknowledged that the national ID is a key ingredient to digital transformation. And there are really so many databases floating around. You have the GSIS database, you have the SSS database, you have the LTO database for a driver's license. There's so many databases flowing around. And it's good that NED already acknowledged that we need the national ID in order to come up with a unified approach to government services. At the same time, they also agreed that we have to accelerate this. Without the national ID, everything will probably fall apart or everything will be delayed. And I really believe national ID is the game changer in terms of rationalizing government services. I'll give you a very specific point. For example, in Valenzuela, we will use national ID to track down government assistance. So when people come in to City Hall or they apply online for example, let's say medical assistance, we will know exactly who that person is. There will be no duplication. Hopefully, medical transcription or medical receipts will be done online also. So we will probably look at telemedicine as a way forward also to help our constituents. So they would troop all the way to our health centers to get medical prescriptions. So the national ID can actually improve government services by avoiding duplication and using different databases. One of the most difficult part is duplication. And when ayuda was being dispensed, we found out, and you've seen this in the news, that people will duplicate their identities by putting junior or senior or the third or the fourth or everything. By adding one number or the third or the fourth, it changes the personality of the person. So I think the most fundamental reform will be the expeditious implementation of the national ID.
Let's shift a little bit, Senator, to looking at local government units. Now, you mentioned that, local government units have maybe a website. Not all of them are really working websites, I would say. And yet next year, we're moving into a period when we have the Mandanas-Garcia ruling, which takes effect 2022. We're going to have an increasing share of funds of national taxes moving to LGUs and therefore greater opportunity for implementation. But what if they don't have the technical or the financial capacity or the technological or innovation capacity to absorb all these newly redevolved mandates? How do we get them to accelerate, and how can national government help them become better implementers and deliverers of basic services?
That's a very good question, Bill. In fact, that's a common question when I go around to talk to municipal mayors, because not all municipal mayors are technologically inclined. And that's the role of DICT. DICT was precisely created to look into information technology issues. And actually, a long time ago, I proposed that simple processes like business permit application should be a decahon approach. And you can just give the application to all local government units, all 1,500 local government units. The application for business permit is governed by the same rules across local government units. We don't deviate from those rules. And when you apply in Makati, it's the same when you apply, let's say, in Cagayan de Oro. So why not make the software decahon, give it to all government units and launch it? What's missing actually, and I filed a bill, is to create a information technology office in all local government units. That's what's missing in the local government code. Well, when the local government code was enacted, ICT was not really a buzzword that time. But local government units should create their own information technology office precisely to launch technology, and especially now, I think it's even beyond information technology, but to also launch their own digital transformation activities at the local level.
Senator, now that you speak of decahon, and I completely agree with you on how we need to go about that. And one of our frustrations in the business community is every time we go to a different city, and Director Lillian knows this all too well, is that every time we go to a different city to file for anything, we're always actually bringing the same documents to prove who we are, and that we are the same company. And every city is always asking for this proof of identity. Have you considered giving a unique Philippine business number, just like you give a national ID? In New Zealand, actually, they have the NZBN, and I took a look at that idea and I thought, shouldn't we have a PHBN, like a Philippine business number that we can use? We quote the number, and that decahon service across LGUs automatically opens up to us. Would you consider something like that?
It's a very good idea. In fact, there's also another benefit to that, which is the situs of tax. And local government units, for example, some of the manufacturers are in Valenzuela, but their head office is actually in Makati or Pasig, and all the sales happen there. And they also have manufacturing facilities across different parts of the nation. And there's no way for local government units to find out what is the actual sales produced from our local government, from our specific local government unit. So it's up to the corporation to declare their sales and to declare what sales were derived from a particular local government units. And it's very difficult to implement the situs of tax in effect. So that unified business registry is a big boost, because local government units can now work together to determine the exact sales being derived from a particular local government unit. Therefore, you can actually claim the situs of tax and increase revenue. So there's revenue impact to that, but that takes a lot. That takes a DILG approach, because DILG is the supervisor of all local governments. And that type of approach needs to be a whole of nation or a whole of local government approach, because, of course, Valenzuela cannot link up or mandate to link up with other local government units. Or if you do it, it will be on a very limited manner. But that's a very good idea, and there's a lot of benefit to that in terms of taxation and revenue.
Yeah, I just thought that a single ID for a single corporation makes it just so much more efficient for us to transact with the government. Later on, I'll go to Ambassador Kell and ask him a little bit about how NZBN works and how they rolled it out. In the meantime, let me shift first to Kokoy Claraval, no, from Globe. I have a couple of questions here, Kokoy, coming from the audience. No? Which cities and areas is Conectayo currently available in, and what are your plans to expand the Conectayo network?
Thanks, Bill, for the question and the audience. Now, so I believe we have about 3.1 thousand locations nationwide, mostly in public areas, transport hubs, government offices, and hospitals. I think in about 80 plus hospitals, we provided also free access. So I don't have the exact areas at the top of my head, but it's growing rapidly. No? So maybe we can get the name of the one who answered to ask the question. We can revert back to him, specific areas.
Sure, Kokoy, thanks. Now, in terms of, I have two questions pertaining to education, which I'll address to Kokoy and then to Director Lillian at DTI, which is all about giving computers to schools, but also giving connectivity. So, Kokoy, I'll start with you. I mean, even after this pandemic ends, we're going to need connectivity in our school system, especially in far-flung areas. What are the plans to be able to expand connectivity to far-flung or remote areas?
So, Bill, obviously in the education sector is one of those areas we're very, very focused on because it provides inclusivity for all. We've had a lot of programs already in both private and public, but let me talk about the public side. So in terms of the public side, we have been very active with the Global Filipino Schools program in 17 regions. About 218 public schools connected, 13,000 teachers with 21st century teaching methodologies, spanning over 340,000 students that we develop digital skills, and the integration of the K-12 curriculum with a digital thumbprint program. Working with national agencies like DepEd, TESDA, CHED, we also built a Globe e-library, which is really zero-rating data access to some of these content platforms. In terms of the infrastructure build of Globe, and not just Globe, but the other fellow telcos Globe nationwide, continues to grow, as you know, right? So we have been heavily investing, whether that's wireless, continue to build 5G. If you're in NCR, you're probably over 94% coverage already for 5G. If you're a wired connection, we have invested over 1 million fiber to the home lines. It won't really stop, right? Because our population grows. So in some of these remote areas, we actually have experimented on certain technologies in the past, and we continue to do so. Unfortunately, some of these technologies, because they were too early, our technology partners didn't proceed with it, but we were actually at the forefront of experimenting on some of these things, no? But this is something that we are continuously going to improve further because it's actually the core of the business.
Thanks, Kokoy. Director Lillian, I think that if you want to build up innovation in a young generation, it's going to start really with providing connectivity and even devices in schools. No? To what extent is DTI involved in such a program to bring more computing power to schools that will help them with their basic education, but also help nurture a future generation of innovators?
Yes, thank you, Sir Bill. That's really a very important concern that you raised. As mentioned by Yusek Tita, the heart of our inclusive innovation strategy in terms of policies and programs of the DTI are really anchored on human resources. That's why in the recent months, we also work together with TESDA, CHED, and DepEd, as well as, of course, the industry linkages, including tech book institutions, particularly in skills development framework, so that our workforce are really prepared for the jobs of the future and will really ensure that skills demanded by companies would sufficiently be provided by these graduates of these institutions. That's why connecting the academia and the industry is really important nowadays.
Thanks, Director Lillian. Ambassador Kell, I want to move over to you. New Zealand, of course, has gone on this journey a lot earlier than we have, and you have the results to show for it. Number one, in ease of doing business for the last several years. What specific approach can the Philippines adapt, and what are the key considerations for crafting a digital strategy? What can we learn from New Zealand?
Thank you very much, Bill, for the question. I actually think many of the key ingredients have already been shared actually this morning through presentations. And, I would probably start by repeating what I said, but I think it's really important. And that is to put the people first. And if you think about that, what does that mean in practice? Like if you're going to put your targeted beneficiary, your citizen, or your business first, then there's a whole lot of questions that come out of that. Like, how do you know who they are? How do you connect to them? What is it that they actually need? How would you know that? How would you verify that? How could you establish feedback loops that ensures that you're always getting, the right messaging around what they need when their needs change? So that very simple, element of putting people first actually throws up and generates a whole lot of other really important considerations. So I would always start with that. And then, you're talking about the how you do that, like the elements of a strategy. And I think, as discussed before, you need to start with a vision, an end state of what you think the ideal state would look like. And then you work backwards from there. And I think, as you could see from, the remarks I shared with you this morning, is that we have a vision of a digital public service that actually can provide the same level and quality of service through government that people expect from private sector. And then we have a little bit more sort of, specificity around that sort of vision. And the strategy has built in very specific, not conditions so much as goals or milestones. And again, then how you achieve that, spawns a whole lot of other really important questions. But the other two things that I would stress is that no one government, whether it's a national government or a local government, needs to go it alone. You may start small, but at the end of the day, you need to share your learnings because the challenges we all face are common. And so how have others done it that you could apply rather than trying to reinvent the wheel? I think it's really important. So collaboration is really what I'm saying. And then lastly, I think for the Philippines, given the number of government agencies you have, whether it's national or local, at the many different levels of local government, I would suggest that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's a journey, not reaching a destination. And any journey starts with the first step. And that first step can be small. So start small, manage your risk, build the capability of your team. And once you've proven that actually you can do it and it does work and your citizens realize that, then you can look at how you scale up. And I think a combination of working at the national level, as Senator Wynne has expressed, but also working at the local level to demonstrate that this stuff can work. And then you can scale it up. That combination, I think, would work really well here. And lastly, I do know that the Philippines is a member of the, just looking at it now, the Open Government Partnership. And this is one way that New Zealand can collaborate with other governments around the world. Both the Philippines and New Zealand are members. We each present national action plans. And a big part of that is e-government. And I just, wanted to sort of just let you know that, share it. And implementing our national action plans, is another good step forward that can be taken at the national government level. Thanks, Bill.
Yep. Thanks, Ambassador. So, Ambassador Peter talked about that focus on citizen centricity or consumer centricity. Uh, Kokoy, let me go to you to the last question for this first batch, which is how can Globe help the government and people accelerate efforts to embrace technology?
So beyond what I said earlier, we actually also need to discuss the financial inclusivity. And I think the previous speaker also talked about it. And Senator Win also talked about the challenges we had with dispensing yung ayuda. No? I think that's a very obvious use case. So there have been a lot of success in this area with government. We've done one with, of course, the Makati government. We've done one with 20,000 constituents in Cordova, Cebu. But I think this area is so ripe for disruption, and we're so ready. There's over 50 million Filipinos already using GCash now. So certainly that's one way that we can help. The other is, as we talk about transformation, and also Senator Win talked about it earlier, you have to have a plan on how you would do it, transition it. And actually, as we're speaking, we're actually in the middle of rolling out something new for our customers now, and it's using AI-based robotics for process automation. It's a very interesting technology. It is carried by our company, Third Pillar, and what it does is allows you to actually remove a lot of the manual stuff. So you have manual, but you have to have a way to transition that from manual to digital, and you cannot just turn that on off it. Kasi your business process will be disrupted. You have to find a way to ease in a solution so that slowly you can actually transition. And we're pretty bullish on that area where you can actually help companies that are doing things manually or semi-manually and having to do that and transition that to a platform that has some AI capability and some robotics behind it. This is really what's happening globally. If you look at the advanced governments like Singapore, etc., even I bet New Zealand would probably have this in their processes. This is something that's very mature. We just have to find a way to implement it in one form or another. And the third one, obviously, is you've probably heard of a lot of this. There's some news about ransomware, and the Philippines is actually in the top 10 of countries that are mostly attacked. It's not a good list, by the way, but we're actually number 6. We need to beef up our cybersecurity initiatives. And I know the government has initiatives there. Certainly, the private sector can also help now. Kasi we do protect a lot of big businesses, including our very own database of customers and all their data. So I think that's one area where also, obviously, Globe is heavily invested also in that space.
Thanks, Kokoy. Boy, cybersecurity is going to be a whole new topic that we could spend half a day on, but I'm glad you brought up that point. I think that this leads us to our second part of our fireside chat, which is really talking about how to transition from the manual into the digital and how to do it in a way that is going to be smooth and seamless for customers and for implementers. And I think this is where Accelerator work is going to become quite handy in the work with government. Let's add a few more people to our mix. I'd like to thank, first of all, our first panel for their views. Thank you to Senator Win Gatchalian, to Director Lilia Salonga, to Ambassador Peter Kell, and to Kokoy. And I'd like to welcome back Catherine Jones of Creator HQ back on screen and back on stage. And she'll be joined by 2 local leaders who will share with us their thoughts on digital transformation from the perspective of local government units. So our first local leader is someone who has served 9 years as a congressman, 6 years as a vice governor, and 3 years as a governor of Quirino province, exemplifying broad experience in both the executive and legislative functions. Throughout his career in public service, he has focused on improving the quality of life of Filipinos. He prioritizes health and education to allow Filipinos to participate in economic activities, infrastructure to move goods and services, and agriculture and livelihood to increase household income. Let's please welcome the National Chairman of the League of Provinces of the Philippines, the National President of the Union of Local Authorities of the Philippines, or ULAP, and presently the Provincial Governor of Quirino Province, the Honorable Governor Dax Kua. Dax, welcome on board. And joining Governor Dax Kua is the Chief Executive of the City of Valenzuela. The solid foundation of his public service is underscored by his governance platform known as the 5 Pillars of Good Governance. It focuses on the essential needs of every Valenzuelano in education, health, and social welfare services, housing, economic development, and livability. Under his leadership, Valenzuela City has earned over 100 awards and recognitions for its innovation in good governance. The city landed 3 of the top 10 outstanding local governance programs at the recently concluded Galing Pook Awards. The LG was honored for its Valenzuela Live program for digital learning, the Tagalog Fishing Village project for livelihood and ecotourism, and the Paspas Permit online business permit application platform. I've had the pleasure of visiting the projects, digital projects of Valenzuela. I can tell you firsthand that they really work well. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome a pioneer in delivering disruptive innovations in public governance. And according to Senator Win, only the second best looking Gatchalian in politics. Let's please welcome Mayor Rex Gatchalian. Good morning, Rex. Okay, so similar to the earlier discussion, we'll dig deeper into your minds to know about how you started your journey to government digitalization in your particular jurisdictions. And I'm sure our participants from different LGUs will be excited to listen to your thoughts and to learn from your lessons. So let me begin with Mayor Rex. He is, as I said, multi-awarded. Also in the CMCI Awards, I believe. And congratulations, Mayor Rex, on sweeping the Galing Pook Awards for outstanding local governance programs. You're a rapidly developing industrial city with a large business community. So how did your LGU convince and assist traditional businesses to participate and embrace the city's digital transformational initiatives? How did you get them on board?
Well, Bill, let me just categorically say it that it didn't happen overnight. Surely it did not. The main focus of our digital transformation is Paspas Permit. As you well know, it's been discussed a couple of times already in different forums, including Globe's sponsored forums. It talks about ease of doing business, but doing it online. So basically, it's the country's only end-to-end permit system that gets you a glimpse of whether it's from assessment all the way to settlement. It offers a complete array of services, everything that you need from City Hall, locational clearance, business permit, sanitation permit. We've even updated it to include modules such as getting your health cards. So name a permit, pretty much it's all online. And our favorite tagline is, you don't fall in line, you go online when you do business with Valenzuela City. It's not that we don't want to see them in City Hall. It's just that we know that it's a lot more convenient or more efficient if they do it at home. If they just transact in their offices, especially now where we are trying to deter convergence. The first initiative before COVID, to answer your question, we were only mandating the use of this system for our bigger accounts. There were around 4,000 of the 15,000 registered businesses in Valenzuela. We came up with a city ordinance saying that, look, there's this module. If you guys transact online with your banks anyway, might as well transact online with City Hall. It was a mandate. We would literally not accept manual checks during business permit season for these 4,000 accounts. But in order for us to do that, we had to show them that it was convenient, meaning all the array of services for settlement, whether it's bank-to-bank transfer, whether it's using PayMaya, whether it's using other consolidators, gateways, everything had to be there. We had to show them that it was really easy and convenient, and it wasn't something that they had to subscribe to because they were already doing it with their other merchants or with their other suppliers. So there you go, 4,000 of them decided to use it because we mandated it. We had an anecdote in the first business season, business tax season. They were coming here, big corporations, still using traditional means. They had a manager's check, falling in line, adding to the buildup of people paying taxes. We would reject them on the spot. We would tell them, look, you're a big company. We know you have digital capability. Please pay online. So that was the first step we did. Now, fast forward, COVID happened. And then COVID, we all know the paradigm changed. Now it's not a choice whether you want to transact online, but rather it becomes a necessity to transact online, because how do you get to City Hall when the city's locked down? Or how do you come to City Hall when you yourself, you're scared that you might get COVID, because City Hall's the perfect breeding ground for infection because everybody's here, whether you're asking for social services, whether you're paying your taxes. So we came up with another mandate saying that everybody has to pay online. But in order to assist them to the migration, we came up with pass permit fares. What are these fares? They're barangay-based rollouts wherein we would line up laptops and we would put IT personnel hovering around and helping these MSMEs maneuver or migrate digitally. And I wouldn't say everybody is using it, but a greater part now of our base, including the micro and small medium enterprises, find it more convenient. And we've had a lot of growth in the usage of the system. From just big businesses, now even micro and small medium enterprises are using it. Sari-sari stores are using it, because to partner with the LGU, payment consolidators or gateways like PayMaya also have their own, or GCash also have their own micro and small medium enterprise modules. And everybody's learning how to use GCash, and we're telling them, look, we're a partner of GCash, so might as well use it. Use GCash in transacting with the LGU. So it's a combination of both making sure that there's a mandate for big companies, holding the hands of the micro and small medium enterprises in navigating their migration to digital platforms. And actually in the pipeline now, we'll be incentivizing it. We're already coming up with a program wherein if you transact online, we may give you discounts in your business taxes. That will entice them some more to use the pass permit platform.
Mm-hmm. So, Mayor Rex, I mean, I fully understand that with COVID, everything got accelerated. No choice. Everyone had to go online if they could to prevent from joining super spreader conditions and super spreader events. Now, prior to COVID, what was you gave a value proposition to your customers, and how long did it take for them to get used to the idea? Was there pushback? Did old habits die hard, right? And old habits are embedded not only among your customers, but among your own government workers. How did you convince both parties to engage in this dance and go online?
Let's talk about the internal clients first. These are our peers working in City Hall. Again, as I mentioned, Rome wasn't built overnight, and this transition didn't happen overnight. It started, the automation. What you're seeing right now, pass permit, is the front end interface. It's actually where the customers actually plug in and use the system. But of course, before you can launch a front end, you have to have the back end fully automated and streamlined. It took us years or decades. It started actually in the time of Senator Win when he was city mayor. Then it accelerated when I stepped in as mayor, because we had more time to build on his gains already while he was starting from scratch. There was pushback from the internal clients because, number one, when you automate, you take away human subjectivity. And you know what happens when there's human subjectivity? They like your face, they give you a lower assessment. They don't like your face, they put up a higher assessment. It's a graph-riddled system when it's manual. That heavy lifting took place in the time of Senator Win, where he did away with manual assessments. That was the biggest pushback. Number two, though, when I stepped in and we started introducing more of these modules, not just for tax assessment, the internal clients or the peers inside City Hall actually felt the convenience of it because they didn't have to painstakingly go through the manual process, but rather everything was system generated. And they realized that it breeds a happier person in them because they have now more time to do more stuff rather than spending so much overtime in City Hall. But again, there's always pushback. People who would always say it's hard to use, but that's where political capital comes in. Luckily, I have put it this way, I had a very strong mandate in that election and in the succeeding election. So I could ram my way through it. I intentionally used the word ram. It was ramming your way through it because we all know the behemoth of a bureaucracy in government. They tend to be slower and they tend to put roadblocks. So you just have to really power and muscle your way through it. Now, for the public clients, as Ambassador Kiel pointed out, it's all about customer experience. Before we launched Pas Permit, we wanted to make sure that it was seamless and the proposition became a reality. When we tell them it's easy, it has to be easy. And the selling point of Pas Permit is your 10-second business permit, meaning what used to be months in the making and then shortened to days in the time of Senator Win, 3 days. Now it's as fast as 10 seconds in the click of your fingertips, just as simple as that. We had to make sure that we delivered on the promise and the system was vetted properly months ahead. We didn't want to launch a system wherein everybody started using it and it started crashing and it doesn't deliver on the customer experience or the taxpayer experience. They get traumatized, especially since we mandated it for our big taxpayers. And luckily, because of the months of vetting it, I think we did 6 months in development, numerous dry runs, numerous beta formats, numerous trials and errors. When we did launch Pas Permit, it was a success because it delivered on the proposition of a 10-second business permit. And constituents, they tend to talk. And they started spreading it out that it's easier if you just do it online. And before we knew it, everybody was transacting online.
Well, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I've been a personal witness to Mayor Rex's levels of persuasion and passion to get these things done. And I've really seen how things like the construction permits process works without going face to face. So thank you for that, Mayor Rex. Governor Dax, we know that you're an advocate for better public service, and I think people can easily think of the services that they need to transact with cities and municipalities, but not always think quickly of what services they need to transact with governors, with provincial governors. So can you share with us the priority programs of both the ULAP and the League of Provinces to support enablement of e-government?
Thank you, Sir Bill. First of all, good morning to all our panelists, to Ambassador Peter Kel, to Senator Win, to Mayor Rex, to Ma'am Catherine, to Sir Kokoy, and Ma'am Lilian. Bill, ULAP serves as an umbrella of all local government officials and government leagues, local government leagues. So as the conglomerate of all local government leagues, our function is really to spread good word or be an advocacy arm of all local governments. So ULAP could not be any more proud on the achievements of the Venezuela City and the Gatchalian family and how they've transformed the landscape for digital transactions in City Hall. In the provincial level, it's mostly when you talk about customers, you usually talk about real property, environmental fees, sand and gravel fees, mining taxes, and similar. So it's not as complex and not as voluminous as those in City Hall or municipal halls. So it's quite a different landscape when you talk about the province. But I think we have to realize that the gains of Valenzuela City and many other successful LGUs who have embraced this new world of the digital world is because they've laid in the proper foundations in the past. They benefit from the fact that in their locality there is strong digital infrastructure provided either by government or by other side of the digital divide. We're going to talk about maybe the municipality of Calayan in Cagayan province, wherein there are 4 island groups. And I don't know if Globe has put up any cell sites there or they provide satellite or whatever technology is available. But those are the things that you would have to understand whether a municipality is ready to embrace all these digital services when the constituents may not be able to enjoy the benefit if there is no infrastructure, right? So those are things that we are trying to address, trying to shout out at the national government, trying to invite international stakeholders or business people or telcos to come and invest, provide this infrastructure, help us so that we can also have to be part or to close in the digital divide. Then comes in the online transactions for us. So there's an entire world different from city living. So that's what we're trying to broadcast also to the national government and to the world outside so that we can close in the gaps, laying the proper foundations, creating the database. Senator Win made a very good point about KYC. KYC is virtually impossible without the national ID. And I'm glad it's coming true, right? It's becoming a reality right now, but we've waited so long for this and we're finally getting it and having it soonest available. So, but in LGUs, Mayor Rex knows this, a lot of mayors do this. Even without the national ID, we have our own ID system. Valenzuela probably has its own Valenzuela ID system. Our province has it so that we can identify our customers and constituents. We do it either very manually or very sophisticatedly with digital technology. But what we need to understand as we, maybe it's not really transition everybody into the digital world, but we need to have right now context-specific solutions wherein the manual shall coexist with the digital until such time the infrastructure is available for everybody and you can all go digital.
Gov, to begin to narrow the gap, between big cities and small jurisdictions and municipalities, has ULAP considered doing something like a digital academy for officials and for your own planning officers at the local government level? We'd be happy to help you set one up.
Yeah, I think maybe with the help of Globe and your group, Sir Bill, we would be very happy to join hands in setting up this digital academy. I think just a couple of things, couple of points, Sir Bill. I know we're running out of time. The fact that many LGUs have invested in GIS or Geographical Information Systems is very important. This is key so that we can have all the databases ready. And I think the mapping is very important as well. So it will provide three-dimensional idea on how we can close this divide and a mapping of the available infrastructure, digital and otherwise.
Okay, that's something we'll keep in mind, Gov. Thanks a lot. Catherine, let me move over to you. You've done a lot of programs. I've experienced your design sprints. You've got the accelerators. Have you worked with local government units, with mayors? I know you've worked with ministries, but have you worked with mayors? And what makes for success in working with at that level?
Yeah, great question, Bill. We absolutely have worked with local government units around the world. We are local government owned ourselves, an entity, so we understand the ins and outs very intimately, the constraints and the blessings that come with being a local government unit. in terms of those conditions of success, it's really the things that I outlined earlier. It's having permissions from your most senior stakeholders within those government departments, that mandate that says we must innovate. We are going to fall behind if we don't. And then understanding what innovation looks like and how to set teams up for success. And so that involves building capability in your people. So investing in programs that will build capability. When I was listening to Mayor Rex talk before, and it's so impressive what he's been able to achieve. And it reminded me of a quote from Margaret Mead, who's a famous anthropologist that I admire, who said, never underestimate the power of a small group of committed people to change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. And, we see that in Mayor Rex's story there. And within local government units, you've got many Mayor Rexes who are so passionate about the problems that they want to solve and truly believe in public service, public service with excellence. How do we truly improve the lives of our citizens through the services that we offer? So when you've got permissions like that and you've got case studies of those who have gone before you, so you believe in the power of what's possible, and you have the budget set aside and the strategic priorities to enable the innovation to take place. And then you invest in people. So you invest in your own people to build the capability, to teach them these skills. And therefore you're creating a sustainable workforce within your local government unit so that you can just repeat these outcomes over and over again for all of the different problems that your agency is trying to tackle. And then you need good relationships, good, strong relationships with the private sector, and an open mindset to working with them. In our Gov Tech Accelerator program, we work with New Zealand's largest telecoms provider. We work with Westpac, who is the bank for government. All of these large corporates have skills and talent and resources that can better enable your local government units to innovate.
Thanks, Catherine. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more about the power of leadership to make things happen and to lean on the strength of just a strong vision and passion to get things done. And I think we have that here in Mayor Rex and Governor Dax. No? Let me go to
just one more thing, because what you see in both of those is they've actually taken action, right? So it's not just it's leadership through talking, but leadership through action. Just dive in, pick a project and get it done to prove that you can do it.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. Now, Kokoy, a lot of the success of these programs rest on network infrastructure, how good how widespread it is and how effective it is. So can you tell us a little bit, what are Globe's network infrastructure plans to support digitization in at least a foreseeable future?
Thanks, Bill. After what Governor Dax and Senate and Mayor Rex mentioned earlier, definitely infra is an important factor, diba? Kasi that is the core, the base of where you build on top. And I mentioned earlier the things we've been doing. And Governor Dax, if you have those lists, baka pwedeng pag-usapan natin yung mga areas na sinasabi mo. We have been doing, we continue to build. That's what I can say. I mentioned earlier the number of sites, and I think Peter also mentioned whether that's 5G, 4G, fiber, those are the key technologies. What I would like to add is, as you roll these technologies, what we're doing now is putting in not just the pipe itself, but also what are things needed to make it already digital in terms of ready for transformation. Ano yung mga yon? The ability to secure that pipe. Kasi alam naman natin, every time you go online, you will be a target of bad actors. The ability to link those pipe to cloud-ready resources. So I know government still has a lot of applications that are probably on-prem, but look, you want inherent scalability, you want inherent security, you want ability to be agile and do your DevOps properly. There's no way but to do it in the cloud. And that's really, we have to embrace that. Now, there are cloud technologies that are local, so that if you're concerned about data sovereignty, meron naman yan. So that's another thing. The third one is, I think Mayor Rex talked about this, you will want to go to the City Hall if you will be infected during the COVID period, di ba? It reminded me of a customer use case during that time where they moved 18,000 employees in 1 month to be pure work from home. And what does it mean by doing that is the ability to move your workflow and your operations from centrally managed to one that's distributed. In one form, ginawa nila Mayor Rex yun when they were doing their on-ground, I guess, registration for MSMEs, di ba? But take that to the next level.
Thanks, Coco. Yeah, I think it's going to be something that we need to look at in terms of expanding network infrastructure to be able to enable cities and provinces and people to get online for a lot of these transactions. Director Lillian, first of all, congratulations for the decision to add innovation into next year's CMCI, the Competitiveness Index. Now, can you tell us a little bit about how how people are reacting? Are they excited? And I'd like to ask also, can we coach some of these cities and see if we can get them to be more innovative? And also, are you going to? I suppose one of the measures must be how many services are you going to measure that get online. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Thank you, Sir Bill. Of course, we're still pursuing this important program among the brainchild of the NCC, and that the innovation pillar is now being recognized as the fifth pillar of the CMCI, and that LGUs are now starting to focus on strengthening their own innovation policies and programs. Actually, in the recent survey that we had in the CMCI, we also see much of the LGUs in terms of measuring how they are very dynamic as local economies, particularly on how new technologies can be used to address this financial deepening. Of course, business registration, as highlighted by Mayor Gatchalian, and in terms of permitting, productivity. And nowadays, you really see how people are really accessing markets or are into online shopping or e-commerce for their own basic needs. So really, in terms of the new pillar, we have identified, of course, indicators that really map out where the LGUs now in terms of their competitiveness in this area of innovation.
Thanks. And, we look forward, Director Lillian, to seeing the cities really compete on this innovation pillar. And there are some cities already with a bit of a head start. So you need to encourage the others to catch up. Let me save the last question for Mayor Rex and Governor Dax. Next year, 2022, is going to be the year of more devolution, more decentralization, and more funds for the NGOs, thanks to the Mandanas Garcia ruling. So you're going to have a lot of programs on your hands and a bigger opportunity for digitization. I'd like you, the both of you, if you could share with us sort of what best practices that you can share, that you have gone through, that you can share with the other LGUs, your fellow LGU executives, on how they can jumpstart their own technology-driven services, how they should go about it, and what did you do to not discourage people when they failed, because there's going to be some failure somewhere along the way. So what did you do to keep people encouraged and driven to continue with digitization? Mayor Rex, maybe to start with you, then I'll close with Governor Dax.
Well, Bill, yeah, digitalization is one aspect of the whole story. The other side will always be the streamlining efforts first, as you well know that. It's about reducing the number of steps, reducing the number of prerequisites, reducing the number of requirements first. That you don't need a lot of investment for. It's just a matter of coming up with an executive order inside City Hall or wherever that government agency is and telling them we do away with this, we do away with that. There are existing patterns to be copied. My Senator Win said it already, de cajon, meaning there are templates that they can copy and it's for free. Even ARTA has already a built-in template for these different permits that we just have to copy. So it just starts with that. That's a zero-cost initiative. It's just a matter of political capital, I guess. As Catherine pointed out, for the decision maker to make that conscious effort to innovate. And that is by itself an innovation. The other side of it is digitalization. So once you have all the processes simplified, streamlined, now you can migrate online because going digital. Because what's the point of going digital if all the requirements in prerequisites are still as tedious and as voluminous as it is right now? I will just frustrate the end user. So once you get that zero cost framework up and running, meaning streamlining the processes, making the requirements less tedious, then you can invest in digitalization. Like in the story of Valenzuela, it would have been nice if DICT had a national framework or a national platform or software or app that we can just all download and replicate and copy. But to wait for DICT to do so may take some time. And it may frustrate the innovator or the local chief executive who's an innovator because he has to wait. In the case of Valenzuela, what we did was there are tons and tons of boutique or mid-sized software developers in the country. This country is blessed with brilliant minds in the tech field. In our case, we found a local developer here in Valenzuela, proudly made in Valenzuela, and we gave them the vision and we worked with them hand in hand. The beauty with this is it's cheap, it's cost efficient. Yes, you will spend, but it's cost efficient. Number two, they're in the city or they are Filipino companies who actually want to participate in nation building. So you can harp on the sense of patriotism there. And number three, when they're boutique or small development companies, you can do modular approaches. You don't have to go one bang all at the same time. In the case of Valenzuela City, it was module per module. It was baby steps until we were bold enough to take that bigger step and say we want 5 modules all at the same time. But these software developers are quite flexible. These software developers are not as expensive. And I'm sure the windfall from the Mandanas-Garcia ruling will be sufficed in doing this. And the beauty of it all is, I noticed they're less rigid in the sense that their software development can be interoperable with other national softwares out there. In fact, case in point, in our case, we're already venturing with DTI on linking up our Paspas permit database with the national database for business registry. We were one of those cities that was identified to be the pioneer wherein you use their portal in the national level, feed into the local portal, vice versa, our database is talking to each other. So that's my take on it.
Great, thanks. Thanks so much, Mayor Rex. Governor Dax, what about you? Your best practice or lessons?
Yeah, thanks, Sir Bill. I agree totally with what Rex said. And my take on the situation is let's capitalize on what's happening to the world and how we're embracing technology. Not LGUs, I'm not talking about LGUs, but the people, the Filipinos are embracing technology right now and how we can use this to cope with the context of COVID-19. And the cities like Valenzuela are continuing to lead the way and inspiring other mayors, other municipalities, other provinces to fully digitize, to make everything so convenient and so express so that people don't have to get off their chairs and do all their taxes at home while watching Netflix and all those things. So let's understand that that's what people want to do. Let's try to make it happen. But let's also understand and be mindful that in order to follow the footsteps of cities like Valenzuela and the rest, we need to do our work and our homework so that we need to start building databases. We need to start streamlining processes, even if they're still manual today. We need to do that so that when the time comes that the infrastructure now becomes available in our locality, in our community, it will be so much smoother to transition to the digital platform. It's all about what Ambassador Peter said, that we need to use design thinking. In my case, I think it should be redesign thinking. The way our laws and policies and national guidelines were set forth were, of course, mandated due to some objectives and reasons, but some of them have become archaic, some of them have become redundant, some of them are duplicated, in many levels. Sometimes you apply for a permit in the barangay and similarly apply it in the city hall and similarly apply it in the province. It's so redundant, and we need to use redesign thinking so that we can make sure that everything is streamlined and we can share that permit that was captured in the city hall with the barangay, with the province, and with the national government, so that the Filipino don't have to go to different websites or different portals and platforms anymore. In terms of, I'm a very practical person, Bill. In terms of innovation, if Valenzuela has proven the effectivity of the use of their systems, I wouldn't even hire anybody else to develop a new system. I'll just ask my good friend Mayor Rex to share it with me and hopefully share it with other cities and municipalities. That's the beauty of ULAP. That's where mayors can talk to each other. The League of Cities and the League of Municipalities, they can all talk to each other so that we can share notes, share resources, share technology with each other. And on the last note, Sir Bill, I really hope to talk more to Sir Kokoy and you, and hopefully talk to more LGUs about addressing the digital gap. I think it's a problem big enough for everybody. Private sector participation will definitely spell greater success in addressing the digital divide.
Thanks so much, Governor and Mayor. So that, coming from the private sector, this is really music to our ears. Streamlining all the procedures, it would really take out so many steps that we're just repeating anyway. I think the idea of sharing the technology, and I know Mayor Rex is really good about this. He shared the Valtrace developer and technology with a few other cities in NCR. I know that he has shared his process for construction permits with Quezon City, and then he went and borrowed a few ideas from Quezon City as well to improve Valenzuela. So I like this open source, open sharing mentality that the mayors have, and I think that's really great. I also like the use of local developers, the boutique developers. We have a lot of great startups, great small shops out there who can do the job. They can do it modularly. If we could just reform maybe our procurement system, then we could probably get more people going. So thanks for all the insights and the lessons. And, there's so many more things that we can talk about, but we've just run out of time for today. But Governor Dax will take you up on the offer and have our own side discussion to talk about that digital gap. And I think it's important issue to address. And also about the digital academy that maybe we can have for local government officials and your own staff, actually, your senior staff. So thank you to all the panelists. There are many more questions in the chat box. We'd like to answer them, but that's all the time we have for our fireside chat. So I'd like to thank all the panelists from national government, from local government, from the private sector, from Globe, and from New Zealand, of course, Ambassador Peter Kell and Catherine Jones, and from DTI, Director Lilian Salonga. Thank you as well to our audience for your participation, a very active participation, I might add. It's been an honor to be part of this event. Hope to see you all again soon. Stay safe and healthy. And in the meantime, let me turn you over back to Ria. Ria, back to you.
Thank you, Bill. Great moderating there, and really such valuable insights from everybody who got to speak. So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's event. Thank you all so much for being a part of today's session. We appreciate your time and effort, and we know that you learned a lot from our leaders' insights on how we can all adapt to these changing times for continuous progress and development in the public sector. We have a long way to go, but we do have a bit of a roadmap there. So it is actually really exciting. If you have any questions about Globe Business Solutions, please contact your Globe Business account managers for more details. They are on standby. They'll be happy to help you out, answer any questions that you have. Also, we would like to encourage everyone to visit the link or scan the QR code that you see on your screens to answer our event feedback form. For easier access, you can also click on the link that's been sent right to your chat boxes. For everyone's information, we are also providing digital copies of certificates of attendance to everyone who attended and answered the event feedback form. Again, we really appreciate it if you could accomplish the feedback form. The team from Globe Business will get all the information of those who did and make each of you a certificate. Also, as a bonus, we are giving away gifts from Zoom to 5 lucky participants who have completely answered the form. And those winners will be drawn tomorrow at 12 noon, and you will be notified through the contact details that you provided on the form. So once again, if you love this event and everything we prepared for you, or maybe you'd like to comment on how we can make the event even more meaningful to you, we do encourage you to please share your feedback so that we can improve our engagements in the future. So again, reminding everyone to accomplish the event feedback form for you to receive your e-certificate of attendance. You must fill up the form in order to to receive a certificate. Also, you can access this feedback form by scanning the QR code on the screen. That was there a second ago, but then the link was also sent in the chat box. We want to make sure that our future events really serve you, and we want to make them as enjoyable and informative as possible. So we always do that. Thanks a lot. Once again, I'm Maria Tanwan Cotillo. Thank you all so much. It has been an honor to host this event. Together, let's rise to achieve digital transformation in government.